The Boston Bruins were laughing last Saturday as they scored late in the game to scuttle the Sabres 5-1. The Bruins have 7 of 8 points against Buffalo this season and allowed only 4 goals in 4 games. But Buffalo bounced back the next night with a solid 5-2 win over the Islanders and aimed to wipe some smiles off the Bruins' mugs tonight. Who'll get the last laugh this time? We'll find out next as Boston visits Buffalo on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Well, thank you, John. Well, here they come, the big bad Bruins, the killer bees, the lunch bucket brigade. You can pretty well call them anything you want. Is this going to be another physical one tonight?
You know, it all suits that. They really are a tough hockey club, and they will show up tonight. They'll play their usual style, aggressive style. It doesn't make any difference. They're at home or on the road. Buffalo will have to match that. I thought Kevin McGuire of the Buffalo Sabres had the best quote of the year when he said, hey, maybe it's time some other players on this hockey club get their noses dirty, and it's very true.
Now we're going to see 3 players in the lineup tonight that will be playing in the All-Star game. Christian Ruutu from the Buffalo Sabres, Cam Neely, and Ray Bourque for the Bruins.
Yeah, that's quite an honor, isn't it, for Christian Ruutu? When you really think hard about it over the season, you would have to say Ruutu has been as consistent as any player on this Buffalo Sabre team. And you talk about a one-man wrecking crew. Keep an eye on Cam Neely. I mean, this guy can actually do it all by himself. There's no stopping him. He's like a freight train going down the boards.
Well, Cam Neely picked up the hat trick the other afternoon, that Saturday afternoon in Boston. John Tucker returns to the lineup. Mikael Anderson will not play tonight. He has the flu.
Yeah, and the first thing you think of the name of John Tucker, power play. Will he improve the power play? Will he be ready tonight to be really effective in a genuine article in this hockey game? It's so important that he plays. He generates a lot of offensive talent on that power play, and you know how the power play has been going for Buffalo. They need all the help, and more importantly than anything else, maybe a little spark, something different.
Okay, Mike, so the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins coming up in a moment, but first let's go in, and here's John Gertler. Ron Koharski, Ron Asseltine, and Ron Finn will be the linesmen for tonight's game. And starting in goal for the Bruins will be Reggie Lemelin. Doug Keaton's played in the Saturday afternoon game. He has a 2.83 goals against average, playing in his 29th game of the season. 114 last night and tied 5. At the other end of the ice surface, it'll be Tom Barrasso, and he has played in 12 of the last 13 games. The 3.17 goals against average, playing in his 27th game of the season. And we are ready now to begin this first period here at Memorial Auditorium. Not in the lineup tonight for Buffalo, Steve Dykstra, Mikael Anderson, Kenny Priestley, Ed Hospodar, Mark Napier back into the lineup, and of course John Tucker returns. Jan Ludwig on that left side with Ruutu at center. And on the right wing, it's Mark Napier. His play is underway with Sluzak working it off the glass into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso leaving it there. It's taken by Ramsey. Stepped away from a check from Courtnall. Now Ruutu getting it off the boards, and here comes Ludwig up to the Boston line with the long shot, but that deflects over the glass into the crowd. And we get an early whistle here in the first period. Opening seconds as you look at Jan Ludwig playing in his 2nd game of the season after missing the first 45 games because of an knee injury. He'll be playing against his former teammates. Might come Friday, the Devils.
That's right, a very peppery hockey player, a good addition to this team, and I really think it'll be an interesting situation to head down the line, maybe another couple of weeks, and all the players get back off those injuries. Who plays, who doesn't play, who's going where. You talk about competition. It's a healthy thing to have if you expect to have a very successful hockey club. You have to have the competition there, and they will have that competition for jobs once those all the players get back into the lineup, which will be shortly.
Here's Joe Hansen, but he lost it at the blue line. He swings it over to Ramsey. He tips it into the Boston zone. A glove to Ryan Evan. He leads it now for Larson. Off the boards, and here come the Bruins. Linsman with a pass to Neely into the Buffalo zone. Dropped it back to Linsman. The pass right in front. Tipped wide to the Buffalo net by Courtnall. And there is a whistle.
Boy, an awful strong rush, wasn't it, by the Boston Bruins? They cruised right into the Buffalo zone with so much authority, and the puck was just tipped wide of the net. Here's the big express train, Cam Neely. He gives the puck up. Linsman, a nice backhand pass right on the mark to Jeff Courtnall, moving in from the far side. And he was very fortunate to tip that puck, and he did, and just missed the net by about a half a foot. Watch that matchup tonight. Kenny Linsman and Christian Ruutu. They've been going at one another now for the past 2 games in a very severe fashion. They're both the same type of hockey players, aren't they?
John Anderson to back in the lineup tonight after missing Sunday's game because of the flu. On the pass comes to Andreychuk and Tucker. Here they come into the Boston zone. Andreychuk working it off the corner glass. Tucker waiting for it. He takes a stiff check. Polino trying to keep it in. Now Crowder check from behind. Tucker gets to the back. Now to Polino going in and trying to get the shot. The drive goes wide. Tucker into the corner. Recovered by Casper. Here's the pass. The center. Taken by Crowder to the Buffalo line. Clearing it on through. Barrasso will play it to the boards. A loose puck in front of the Buffalo net. Here's a chance. A pass over, but we brought an injured player, Sean Anderson. Goes down to the face-off circle to the left of the Buffalo net. No score, first period. Watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Let's have a look at it right here, and we'll see how Sean Anderson, number 37, collides with Crowder. And he's pulling away. Crowder's stick just caught Anderson, as you see, right on the bridge of the nose. So Boston Bruins lead the first calling card of the game.
Face-off will be in the Buffalo zone. Casper, Crowder on that right side. And on the left side, Randy Burry. Fort Erie native. Now Smith in against Casper. Casper wins the draw. Back to Peterson. His long shot. Tipped a loose puck at the side of the net. Back in front. Taken on by Dombey. He is checked and picked off by Smith. No, he overskated. Goes back after it. He flipped to the back of the line. Here's Talbot with a drive. Did not get through. The puck goes back into the corner. Ruff works it down the left side. Back into the Boston zone. It's Ruff playing back in defense with Housley. Ruff playing at his second game in defense. It's cleared. Casper will come up with it. Clears it right back into the Sabres zone. Now Barrasso giving it to Housley. The Bruins make a player change. Smith at center. Clearing it on into the Bruins zone. Comes back to the line. O'Dwyer right into Buffalo territory with the shot blocked by Johansson. Head to Donnelly at the line. There to keep it in is Stevens. Now Barrasso leaving it for Mike Ramsey. Ramsey working with Johansson back on defense. It's deflected by Smith back into the Bruins zone. No score, first period. Larson, long pass to the line. Stopped there by Johansson. Now comes back to the Buffalo line. Recovered by Ramsey. He'll flip it on into the Bruins zone. Larson. 2.5 minutes have gone by in the first period. O'Dwyer's pass to Byers in over the line. Got Stevens with him. Cleared by Shepard. Recovered by Wesley. Now Ramsey takes over. He'll clear it through. Head to Pierre Turgeon. The 2-5. Larson will pick it on. Buffalo makes a play change with Byers. Clearing it. Flubbed down by Shepard. Now coming back with it is Byers. Shoots it on into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso will play it up to a breaking Shepard at center. He'll clear it on into the Bruins zone. A glove to by Lemelin. Now Ray Bourque, the all-star defenseman. Ahead to Larson. At center to Miller, rather. Miller shoots it in off the corner board. Rupp goes in after it. Here's Sweeney. Bumps with Napier. Now Miller, he's got Alamone in front of Willie Flett. Can't get it to him. It'll come back and Krupp will take over. Miller hacked at him. Here's Krupp's pass. Missed by Ruutu. Will slide right through to Lemelin. He'll leave it now for Ray Bourque. 16:33 left in period number 1. Housley. Head to Ludwig. He backhands it on into the Bruins zone. Luzak will go after it. Only one shot so far on goal taken by the Bruins. Here's Ludwig. Ludwig rather, now back in behind the Bruins net. Ruutu comes up with the race to the goal crease and tipped wide then by Napier. Here's a drive there that went off the glass. Back to Ramsey. He'll keep it in. No, comes back to center. Housley working it over to Napier. Now Ludwig breaks it over the line. Taken by Ruutu. Back to Napier. Napier comes back with it now. Goes to the far board. Still with it. Here's the pass. Gloved down by Ludwig. Ruutu tried to get it back. Housley, and here they go. The Bruins have got a 2-on-1. Portno moving in with Neely. But they whistle it down. We've got action to the left of the Bruins net. They whistled that play down when the Bruins had a 2-on-1 break. No score. You're watching watching Sabres hockey at the Niagara Frontier Sport.
He'll pick up 4 minutes. Here it is right here. Keep an eye to the right. See Ludwig come up with the right hand. Punches Linsman in the face. And there he is in the penalty box. Now the Boston Bruins go on to a 4-minute power play. Jan Ludwig. Look at Ted Sater. Now right there, he's just looking over his lineup, seeing what he has to work with right here. You know, but you just want to check and make sure. Sabres will go with 4 lines tonight. It'll pay off as the game goes on.
So the Bruins go to the power play. No score, first period, 15:43 remaining. A 4-minute power play. Cleared on into the Buffalo zone. It'll go to the corner now. Arneal with Neely. Lynchman gets it back to Larson. Larson shooting. And that one blocked and goes over the glass. Neely was knocked down in front of the Buffalo net. Puck goes over the glass into the crowd. There's Neely. Had the hat trick Saturday afternoon.
You'll see plenty of him. The same position right in front of the net. It's extremely strong. Very difficult to move out of there. Boston's power play isn't much better than the Buffalo Sabres. They're ranked 20th in the National Hockey League. And here's the hit right in front of the net. So the man come right in. Mike Ramsey really took Neely out with an awful lot of authority. A very, very important play right there by Mike Ramsey. A lot of defensemen can't even move him, let alone put him in a horizontal position.
Neely with 10 goals, 9 assists in his last 14 games. Of his 25 goals he scored, he's got 7 in the power play. There's going to be a penalty coming up here.
Yeah, this will go to the Bruins. Retaliation, Ted. Nice check by Kelly Johansson. Went over and really drilled him up against the boards, and he'll pick up, Belvin will pick up the retaliation penalty. He came back, Wesley came back with the stick across Kelly Johansson's back. The referee was right there to make the call. Wesley, just a rookie in the National Hockey League and having an awful fine season. Very mature defenseman considering this is his first year in the National Hockey League. And there's a veteran of the wars right there. Of Capitano, believe me, he might be the leader more than any player on this team, on this Boston Bruin team, and that's Terry O'Reilly.
So there's 3:39 left in the penalty to Jan Ludwig, and now Wesley goes to the penalty box. If you look at Bob Sweeney, now that's first NHL goal against Barrasso last January. He also played high school hockey with Barrasso in the Boston area.
He scored his first goal, didn't he, against Barrasso last year in Boston, if I remember correctly.
Taken by Ramsey. It'll come back to the line. There's no score here in the first period. Ramsey's knocked out by Sweeney, taken by Televen, brings it in over the Buffalo line. But there's an offside call at the Buffalo blue line. One shot for the Bruins, none so far for the Buffalo Sabres.
There's Mike Ramsey, played for the University of Minnesota. That's back in 78, 79, and a bulwark, to say the least. A nice job he did at Cam Neely about a half a minute ago in front of the net. This is a nice hit right here. You can see the player came in with the stick, but he didn't get it up too high. Some awful good hits thrown early in this hockey game. Pretty clean game, other than just a tad of stick work.
Now Kluzak back at his own blue line. Watched by Tucker, gives it to Bourque. Here they come. The pass to Kluzak to the Buffalo line. Again, it's an offside call. The Buffalo blue line. The last 10 games, the Bruins have won 6, lost 2, and tied 2. There is a look at John Tucker, who returns to the lineup. He got back into the lineup in December the 18th against Montreal, but then he was injured, picked up that shoulder injury, and finally he's back, and he's probably hoping, I hope I don't get it again.
A very fresh face. He should have an awful lot of energy left for the run to the playoffs here for the Buffalo Sabres.
Now Bourque will chase it back into his own zone. He's watched by Polito. Sends it up on that left side. The Bruins try to come back, but here's Tucker. Tucker going in on goal. Went to the backhand and lost it off the blade of his stick, and then Lemelin was there. Had a great chance for the Buffalo Sabres, John Tucker, but he was stopped.
You know, the first couple shifts for John Tucker is very important. He has to have a good shift to get himself back into the hockey game, get his confidence up, and sure enough, look at the opportunity, and what a beautiful save right there by Lemelin. Was he sharp with that stick? Watch him get that stick ready. Just dart right out there. Takes the scoring opportunity away from Tucker cleanly. Goaltenders, it's so important that they use that stick in around the crease area. Not only there, but passes coming out from the corner to men standing loose in front of the net. You can gobble so many of those passes up if you have a good stick, good goal stick, and you're capable of using it properly.
Look at Reggie Lemelin. He's the 3 games that he played against Buffalo, 3-3 tie, shut them out 9-0 and 2-0. Has a .97 goals against average.
And Ted, a stand-up goaltender all the way. Very seldom will you see Lemelin play this game of hockey on his knees.
Picked up as a free agent.
The steal.
Calgary. Has 2 shutouts this season, both against the Buffalo Sabres. Now Corcoran against Turgeon. Well, Ron Asseltine, he may be indicating
maybe a misconduct penalty, or
it's a Lindsman.
Unsportsman, possibly.
Could be. No score. First period. You're watching Sabres hockey and the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Sportsmanlike. He doesn't like the call, but you can bet whenever he's yelling at Asseltine, the linesman, it wasn't to find out how his family was doing and if he had a nice Christmas. He gave it to him. I'll tell you, you have to get pretty severe, especially with a linesman, to really get him wrinkled enough to call a penalty like that. That's unusual, isn't it, to see a linesman make that call. But it's good to see. I think they should have a little more power in these games. They see a lot of things that the referees don't necessarily see.
That's really upset Terry O'Reilly, the coach of the Bruins. He's, you know, when you think now Koharski's going over.
2 bad penalties here by the Bruins.
You're going to get a misconduct.
Hear that?
Look like you're talking, you're going to get it.
The boys, keep your mouth shut, or it'll be a 10-minute misconduct. It'll cost you time and money. He's not taking any guff early in this hockey game.
And O'Reilly's yelling at linesman Ron Finn, but now we're ready to play. On the draw, Bork tries to clear it. He does, but he sends it back into the Buffalo zone. Alvarado will leave it for Housley. The Sabres coming back for the extra man. 4 skaters against 3. The pass over to Ruutu, left it now for Housley. He gives it to Johansson, side of it to Turgeon, back to Johansson. There's the drive. Lemelin makes the save, and he stands right up there and makes the save in the chest area.
The Sabres really moved the puck nicely for that opportunity, and Turgeon came up with the best play of all. Looked like he was going to shoot the puck, and I think all the Bruins figured the same thing. At the last moment, he just laid a beautiful pass, feathered a pass out to Kalle Johansson, who moved in for the drive. Now watch all the passes here. 1, that's perfect. Nice lead pass right on the stick. Nice backhand pass. Everybody goes, if you notice, to Turgeon. The puck goes back to Johansson for the drive, and there's Turgeon waiting for the rebound. Textbook.
On the draw now, recovered by Kasper. He waits, now sends it into the Buffalo zone.
Sabres are ranked 21st on the power play.
Here they come, led by Housley. Turgeon, the right, Ruutu on the left. Stops just inside the line. Works it now. Over comes back to Housley. There's the pass in front. Off the skate of Bork. He had no trouble blocking that one. Yep, flipped back into the Buffalo zone. Johansson. Now they come back again with Ruutu. 25 seconds left in the power play. Ruutu into the Boston zone. It'll go to Johansson. Johansson works to the back and behind the net, but Tucker missed it. And Bork is there all alone in the side boards, and he flipped it right back into the Sabres zone.
Well, the Sabres are trying to force their passes right now. They're not making the easy play. They're trying to make the glamour play.
Here comes Andrew Jack into the Bruins zone. Steps by Larson. Still with him. He's hauled down at the side of the Boston net. And now the Bruins come back. They've got 4 skaters. They come into the Buffalo zone. Housley left it there. Gives it to Johansson. Back to Housley. 26 seconds. The Bruins will go back to the power play. Here's Tucker. The drive. He scores. John Tucker drills it in by Lemelin. The Sabres take a 1-0 lead at even strength.
Well, the Sabres are very fortunate to score this goal, but give them a lot of credit for moving the puck around exceptionally well. Tucker has time to set it up. You notice how he took 2 or 3 strides into the puck. And I'll guarantee you, John Tucker could stand there and take 100 of those shots, and I'll bet you no more than 2 or 3 would go in. This one did. Not only did Lemelin make the initial save, but he didn't make it good enough. It just caught a piece of his glove. Not only that, but hit the goal post, and the puck still went in.
And
Tucker gets his 5th goal in 15 games.
Well, Tucker will need 3 or 4 games to get back into the groove. He's into the groove right now. He's sky high, and he feels awful good at this point.
At 18 seconds, the Bruins will go to their 2nd power play. It's picked off now. Here's the pass through to Arneal in the backhand. It went wide. Ramsey will try to keep it in. He's hit and knocked down by Arneal. Now Arneal into the corner. Arneal with 2 goals the other night against the Islanders. Now Sean Anderson works to the back into the Bruins zone. And Boston now going to the power play for 55 seconds. The Sabres have a 1-0 lead. Linsman stopped at the line by Smith. Tipped it back into the Bruins zone. It'll come to Neely. Down the lane. He's stopped by Smith again. Larson working it through to Linsman to the Buffalo line. Clears it to the corner board. Barrasso going way to the corner. Getting it off the glass. Blocked to the line by Wesley. Recovered by Arneal, and he'll backhanded to the Boston blue line. Now Bourque giving it to Wesley. 28 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Here's the pass to Linsman to the Buffalo line. He has stopped. It goes over to Kasper. Kasper turns. Drops it back now. Gives it to Wesley. Back to Kasper. Back to Wesley. Here's the pass over to Bourque. The drive and off the left shoulder of Barrasso with the rebound. Loose puck goes into the corner. Kasper comes up with 9 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Here's Bourque with it now. Bourque giving it to Kasper. The shot. He scores. Kasper with a high drive beating Barrasso. It's tied at 1.
Oh, and Ramsey's red hot. Mike Ramsey, what happened? He lost his stick. Then Kenny Linsman shoved it in the corner. He didn't have a stick on this play. Here's a shot from back at the point. Kasper moves right into the slot area, winds up with the slap shot, screened all the way. A perfect shot just inside the far iron. Nice puck control here by the Bruins. Couldn't ask to be in a better position to let that shot go, and it beat him cleanly. But Ramsey was really up. See his stick down in the right corner? Well, at one point, it was right at his feet. He looked down for it. It wasn't there. And then he realized one of the players had shoveled it into the corner away from the play on him, and it was Kenny Linsman, who they have been hammering on all night long. Every time Linsman's touched that puck, he's been hammered.
Power play goal for the Bruins. They've tied it now at 1. Oh, our orange computer says no power play goal. Yeah, it was power play goal. Now here's Sweeney now, right in front of the net with a shot. Barrasso made the save. Loose puck. It goes over to Shepard. He'll bring it back to center. Shooting it in off the corner boards into the Bruins zone. A loose puck in there, recovered by Kluzak. Getting it off the boards, it'll come back into the Buffalo zone. Rupp goes back to pick it off for Buffalo. We are tied at 1. Around it'll come now. Kelvin keeping it in for the Bruins. On the boards, Rupp comes up with it. Rupp back into Boston territory with 11:03 left in the first period. Kluzak had a little trouble with it. Now gives it to Kelvin. His pass. Roddy Johansson will go back to his zone of blue line. He feeds it through right back into the Bruins zone. Now taken by Kelvin. Kasper gets his 18th goal of the year. Now the puck comes right back into the Buffalo zone. Tucker with his 5th of the year from Housley and Johansson at 6:56. Then Kasper gets his 18th at 8:15.
That's Kasper's 8th power play goal, the most on the Bruins. Cam Neely has 7.
Now Ramsey going back to get it. Watched by Stevens. Up it'll come to Andrechuk. Here's the pass deflected on by Tucker into the Bruins zone. Peterson works it back into Buffalo territory. There will be no icing. 4 shots for the Bruins and 3 for Buffalo. Up it comes to Andrechuk, but he lopped it off the blade of his stick. Comes right back in now. Ramsey skates to center, backhands it into the Bruins zone. Larson in to get it now for Boston. Into the corner to Wesley, ahead to Kasper. With the right wing pass to Crowder to the Buffalo line. Taken to the boards by Anderson to come in behind the net. Then Barrasso will play it away from Kasper. Now Ruutu. He'll start to bring it back for Buffalo. Up with Napier. In now to the Bruins zone. Napier goes in. Ruutu into the corner. He sends it now to Napier in front to Arneal. Shoots, he scores! Scott Arneal with his 3rd goal in the last 2 games. And the Sabres go back into the lead 2-1.
Boy, the Sabres scored this goal. This is the way you would draw it on a book, on a piece of paper before a game. So, boys, this is the way you're supposed to do it. The first man in went in with the puck. That was Ruutu. He really hustled the puck in behind the net, and the pass was made to Arneal. Nice work by Ruutu. Excellent excellent pass by Napier. If you notice, it was right on Arneal's stick. He didn't have to play with it. He could just one-time the puck. You can't ask for a sweeter spot than that, can you? Just feathered that pass perfectly out to Arneal. Boy, did Ruju ever do an awful lot of it. He did the real bulwark on that goal, something like an all-star.
Arneal is 9th of the year from Napier and Ruju at the 10:32 mark. Now Housley getting it around for McGuire, but Kasper's there for the Bruins. Here's the pass right in front. Trying to spin around the shot, but now we've got Rupp mixing it up in front of the low net. Who's he got down, Mike?
Hard to tell.
Up, Crowder.
You know, going back to that last goal, Ted, Rutu, when he went in the corner, the key to that goal was he didn't pull up because he knew he was going to get run. And not only did he got run by a couple players, as a matter of fact, so he took a hit to make a play.
Buffalo 2, Boston 1. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Lindy Ruff, he picks up 2 minutes for a high sticking. And also Crowder and Ruff going to the penalty box for fighting. Now the Bruins will go to their 3rd power play here in the first period. Here's the announcement of the penalty.
Correction, number 18, Keith Crowder. 2 minutes for high sticking and 5 minutes for fighting. Buffalo penalty to number 22, Lindy Ruff. 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for instigating, and 5 minutes for fighting.
Oh, he gets another 2 for instigating.
Yeah, he really did take charge of that incident in front of the net, and I guess if there's anything, such a thing as a good penalty, you might say that was a good penalty. He was very aggressive in front of the net. That's twice tonight I've noticed him taking men out with an awful lot of authority. Boston Bruins players right out in the crease area with authority, and you have to let the team you're playing against, you have to let them know early. Until you actually do something about it, they'll try to make a monkey out of you all night long. So you might as well settle the issue nice and early and get it over with.
The Bruins missing Rick Middleton with a pulled hamstring. He'll be gone for at least a week, and Neville Marquardt is out until February with a shoulder surgery. On the draw, now comes back to the line. Bruins go to the power play with Bork. Into the corner for Lindsman. Oh, to Courtnall. Blocked nicely there by Kalle Johansson. And he'll send it down and into the Bruins zone, level it.
One thing the Bruins do know right now is that when they can't stand the crease area when Ruff is there.
Here comes Kluzak up at center. He sent that one off the glass. Hit the back of the net now. Ramsey, he balked at that one, but couldn't get it out.
Well, you really have to like the way Cam Neely plays. What a hard hitter, a very clean hockey player. You won't see too much dirty work from Cam Neely. He plays the game pretty straight, up and down, and if you're in my way, well, I'll simply move you.
8 minutes, 43 seconds remaining here in the first period. And the Bruins have the best road record after a total of 26 games. They've won 13, lost 10, and tied 3.
I can't tell you how many games I've seen where Neely actually just worked his way into the opposing zone, smashed 2 guys up against the glass, took the puck, fed it in front for the winning goal or the tying goal.
Buffalo leading by 2-1 here in this first period. Out goals by Tucker and Arneal. Arneal getting his 3rd goal in the last 2 games. Now Kluzak will bring it back for the Bruins at center. Sends that one off the glass. Now Neely in there. He's buffing through 2. Sticks get up high. Back it comes to Bork. Bork takes the shot. Far side. Kluzak with the drive. Barrasso can save the rebound. Taken by Courtnall. Now Courtnall with it. Tried to move it in front of the net. Here's Lindsman at the side of the net. Still with it left it for Courtnall. Bork with it. 54 seconds left in the power play. Back to Bork. Courtnall with it again. Courtnall with the shot. Blocked by Ramsey. Taken by Courtnall. Courtnall. Oh, now he's got Arneal and Neely mixing it up.
Well, let me tell you something. Arneal's doing a heck of a job, isn't he? He came back pretty good for a while. It doesn't matter what happens in this fight. The thing is that Scotty Arneal came right over and helped his partner out. I shouldn't say his partner, but Kalle Johansson, who was being worked over by Neely, stepped right in, intercepted Neely for him. It's awful good to see.
And with the score, the Sabres 2, the Bruins 1. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
That's not an easy task when you have to go after Cam Neely, who's as good a fighter as anybody in the National Hockey League. And Scotty Arniel did it, realizing that Calle Johansson is not that robust a hockey player. He was being worked over by Neely, so he just stepped in, intercepted him, didn't do too bad.
Well, both go for fighting, and Neely gets an extra 2 minutes for interference.
Well, he was the aggressor. It all started off with Johansson just before Arniel jumped in there.
So in 44 seconds, the Sabres will go to the power play. 7:58 remaining here in the first period.
It's just called giving each other a little bit of support, and what happens, teams build on such incidences. Now the next thing, confrontation that pops up, they'll automatically go in there and say, listen, I have to do it. I can't back down and pretend that didn't happen. Scotty Arniel stuck his nose in there. How about me?
Now Krupp in behind the net. John Anderson, Krupp, Tucker, and Andrechuk. Tucker will bring it back down the right side at center. Now to the Boston line, gets in over the line, left it there for John Anderson. He'll work it around behind the Boston net. Andrechuk in there after Kluzak. Now Kluzak working it to Byers. Now the pass to Bork. Bork in over the line, off the board, but Krupp is there to knock it away from Sweeney. Now Krupp, check from behind, but he sent it to center. Kluzak. 9 seconds of the Sabres will go to the power play. Here's Byers with it. Now Bork hit by Krupp. Recovered by Kluzak, and the Buffalo going to the power play for 1 minute and 12 seconds. Barrasso playing it away from Burry. Ruutu will be playing in the All-Star game. Dropped to the back for John Anderson. He gives it now to Ruutu in over the line. Ruutu still with it left it there for Anderson. There's the shot deflected. There's a shot. Oh, and the chance there. Now Ruutu comes up with it. He brings it back to the line. Over it goes to Anderson. Back in now to Turgeon. Into Shepard, into the corner. Shepard works it back to Turgeon. It'll come back to Housley. Now to Anderson. Back to Housley. Over it comes to Ruutu. He lets the drive go. They score! Shepard! I believe it was Shepard deflecting it in. A power play goal for the Sabres. They take a 3-1 lead, and I'll tell you, Shepard, is he dangerous around that net?
Boy, he missed one opportunity about a half a minute before that, but watch this right on the tip end. You can see they have 2 men standing right in front of the net. They're going to the net. What a difference that makes. Here's the shot by Ruutu, a nice low snapshot. Ruutu has just been outstanding here this evening. I mean, he put this puck right on the net. He kept it low, gave the 2 Sabre players an opportunity for the tip in. So important to have somebody in front of that net, and sure enough, the Sabres had 2 of them just standing there waiting.
Well, should Shepard get credit for the goal, it'll be his 18th of the year. And it's a 3-1 lead, Buffalo, with 6:36 remaining in the first period. Sabres 1 for 2 in the power play. They were 1 for 2 the other night against the New York Islanders. Now Ramsey working it up now, taken by Donnelly. Donnelly checked from behind. It comes now to Smith. He can't clear it. Now Smith will go after it. Kelvin keeping it in. Here's O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer getting the shot away. It goes to the corner. There with it is Lyndon Byers. Bruins keep it in. Here's O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer with it, sends it towards the net, cleared by Barrasso. The Sabres are in trouble at the moment, but finally Johansson. He'll clear it now for McGuire. Peterson works to the back into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey giving it to Smith. 3-1, Sabres lead. 5:50 to go. Smith backhands it into the Bruins zone. Buffalo will make a player change. Now Delvin. Up on the right side, Jay Miller's on the ice. Look for something to break. And with Chuck now, but McGuire had it knocked off the stick. Here comes Miller to the Buffalo line, shooting it in. Ripped up from behind, but it's cleared by Barrasso. Round to the right side of McGuire. With Andrechuk. He'll clear it into the Bruins zone. Stopped by Lemelin, leaving it for Bork. Bork in front of his own net. The quick pass intended for Burry. Casper will go in after it. No icing ball. Krupp giving it to Foligno. Now Foligno over the line to Andrechuk. Andrechuk giving it to Tucker into the Boston zone. He is stopped by Bork. Recovered by Kluzak. Now giving it to Platt. At center with Casper shooting it in. Housley let it go on through into the corner. Foligno Leads it for Housley. Ramsey with Bergeron. And Foligno, the pass to Foligno. Knocked away to center ice. Casper, but it's a two-line pass. 3-1 Buffalo. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Pass the puck as well as they have tonight all season long. I mean, they're on the move. When they pick the puck up, they're on the fly, and they're causing an awful lot of damage with their speed tonight.
Shepard with his 5th goal in the last 10 games for Buffalo. It comes back into the Sabres zone. Oh, kicked wide by Lindsman. Sends it through the goal crease. Shepard bumps in there with Wesley. Recovered now by Byers. He locks it to Housley. Now picked out by Courtnall. Courtnall's knocked out. Housley will go to the penalty box, and he is furious.
He's just about ready to do a tap dance out there.
Right.
He hot.
He almost pulled out a Foligno jump. He was so mad.
I looked like Walter Brennan for a while there. Little loop.
Here's the announcement.
2 minutes for tripping. Housley, 2 minutes for tripping. The time, 15:35.
Bruins will go to their 4th power play with 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining here in this first period. The Buffalo Sabres looking for their 5th straight victory on home ice, but they've got a ways to go yet in this game.
Well, Boston, they're moving the puck pretty well in the Buffalo zone. Well, they're having their problems in their own zone. They're being checked exceptionally well tonight by Buffalo, and they really haven't got much working room at all. Been an awful good game plan so far by the Sabres coaching staff.
7 shots for Buffalo, 6 for the Bruins. And the Bruins now with that extra man. Face out of the Buffalo zone. Rusu losing the draw to Lindsman. Wesley to the far side, giving it to Byers. Here's his shot, and it went off, escaped wide of the Buffalo net. Larson will keep it in, back in behind the net. Cleared by Johansson. Here's Rusu along the boards. He tries to get it over the blue line, and he does. Christian Rusu will be representing the Buffalo Sabres in the All-Star game February in St. Louis. Lindsman bringing it back now to the line. Stop. Here's Lindsman going in, trying to go to the forehand. He does. The save, and now the rebound. Knocked into the corner by Johansson. Cleared over the blue line to center. Courtnall. Courtnall, the previous 4 games against Buffalo, has picked up 4 goals. Here it comes to Smith. Now Smith will work it back into the Bruins zone. Buffalo makes the change in the penalty killing unit. Donnelly steps on, along with Cruz. Now Wesley starts to bring it back with the pass to the far side for Burry, trying to clear it through to Casper. He is stopped. Smith flashed it off the board. Now Bourque with 50 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Here comes Bourque at center. Out of the Buffalo line. The pass too far for Burry. Here's Burridge in behind the net, getting it back to Casper. Luzak with the screen shot, knocked away by Barrasso to the far boards. Donnelly off the glass into the Bruins zone. 32 seconds now left in the power play for the Bruins. 3-1, Buffalo leading. 2:50 remaining in the first period. Sweeney at center to the Buffalo line. Brooks chasing him. Sweeney goes into the corner. He left it there. Now Burridge picked it off. Looks like there's going to be an interference call going to the Bruins. It'll be Casper making his way to the penalty box. Interference call on Casper with 12 seconds remaining in the penalty to Housley. And the Sabres will go to their 3rd power play. Now, Mark Napier back into the lineup for the Buffalo Sabres. He's been unable to play because of bruised ribs. Steve Dykstra not playing tonight. Mikael Anderson, Priestley at a hospital. Mikael Anderson with the flu. John Tucker back into the lineup in his first game since December the 18th and playing in his 15th game of the season. 2 minutes, 37 seconds remaining in period number 1. Not a very happy Bruins fan at the moment. Tucker in against Lindsman. Now they're set on the draw. Lindsman wins it. He'll send it back into the Bruins zone. 7 seconds. Housley will return to the ice, and Buffalo will go to the power play.
Now the pass comes to Linsman. He sends it up to the right side. He goes Dwyer breaking it over the Buffalo blue line, trying to get in and go, but Sean Anderson came back with a good defensive move. Take it away from him. Now Johansson. Buffalo on the power play. This is the third. They're 1 for 2. It's cleared on into the Bruins zone, cleared to the far boards, and Housley will go back after it. Smith stepping onto the ice, replacing Johansson. It'll be Housley, Tucker, Smith, Polino, and Andrichuk. Now the pass up for Tucker. Tucker into the Bruins zone. Tried to drop it back. Check, cleared, not out. Here's Housley keeping it at the right point. There's the shot. That deflects way up into the crowd here at Memorial Auditorium. 1:43 remaining in the first period. Housley with 2 goals, 5 assists in his last 6 games. Now we've got some action inside the Bruins blue line. Oh, Polino and Kluzak, they dropped their gloves. Now we're going to take a look, and here's what happened. Now Housley, he's shoved by one of the Bruins, and I don't know whether that was Kluzak. Now Tucker and O'Dwyer. Now Dwyer grabs the stick of Tucker and throws it right out of his hand. Now Andrichuk's there, stepping in between the two. And Tucker is saying something to O'Dwyer, but he doesn't want to pick up the penalty now. And Polino has gone to the penalty box, along with Kluzak, with 1:43 remaining here in the first period. There he is, Kenny, the Rat Linsman.
The first 2 guys get unsportsmanlike conduct. Tucker gets a minor for high sticking.
Well, Tucker gets a minor for high sticking. Goes up in the board. So that nullifies the Buffalo Sabres power play. And Casper has 1:06 remaining in his penalty. 7 shots for the Sabres, 8 for the Bruins. Following tonight's game, the Buffalo Sabres will remain at home and take on the New Jersey Devils on Friday night. And that game will not be on our cable network, by the way. It'll be radio coverage only on the WBEN radio network. Here's the announcement of the penalty.
And Buffalo penalty to number 17, Mike Polino. Each 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. Kluzak and Polino, each 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. Buffalo penalty to number 7, John Tucker. 2 minutes for high sticking. Tucker. 2 minutes for high sticking. The time 18-17.
4 goals. Now he's into the third 20-game segment, and he has 6 goals in 6 games. He could hit that 30-goal plateau. Now Crowder giving up to Bourque. Just Crowder on the far side. Housley. Crowder trying to get away from Housley. Sweeney has it. Here's Sweeney trying to work it in front of the net. With the shot, he scores! Sweeney on a deflection that beats Tom Barrasso. And the Bruins are back in it. It's a 3-2 score. Watch here. Here's Sweeney. Nobody goes after him. Let the little flip shot go. Barrasso lost it. It appeared to go between his legs. We'll take another look at it from the low-level camera. There it is, right between the legs. It might have been deflected in front of the net. Up, right there. And over the stick of Barrasso, and they'd say 3-2 score with 1:24 remaining. His 14th goal of the year at the 18:36 mark. On the draw now, kicked back by Arneal, gives it to Sean Anderson. It'll be recovered by Housley. Housley can't clear it out. Here's Burry. He dropped it back. Now there's a drive. He scores! The Bruins scored 2 quick ones to tie it up. Talbot drills it by Barrasso, and it's a 3-3 score. Here it is, Burry. Back to Talbot. The big slap shot beats Barrasso. Bang. All tied at 3. With 35 seconds left in the penalty to Casper. 1:29 to go in the penalty to Tucker. The Bruins, here it is again. And the Sabres, with a 3-1 lead late here in the first period, have allowed the Bruins to come back to tie the game within a matter of seconds on 2 quick ones. Now Ramsey back at his own line, giving it to Smith. And it comes to Johansson. Leaves it for Ramsey. Up to center. Now to the Bruins line. Taking the boards by Burry. 1 minute now remaining here in the first period. Over it comes to Delvin again. He'll try to leave it there. Takes it into the corner. Now taken by Burry. Burry back at the line. Still with it. Nobody changed. Oh, here's Burry. Makes the shot. Now it goes into Bourque. Knocked away by Johansson. 6 seconds and the Bruins will go to the power play. 3-3 tie. Bruins with 2 quick ones. Here's Johansson. He comes up with it. The pass over the line to Smith. Smith now into the Boston zone along the board. 29 seconds to go. It'll go to the far side and Burry will take over and the Bruins are on the power play for the remainder of this period. Lindgren leading the rush. It'll go to Kasper. Now gives it to Wesley. He missed it. 16 seconds to go. Now the pass to Lindgren. Off his skates. Recovered by Napier. He'll clear it. 10 seconds to go in the period. 26 seconds to go with the Buffalo penalty. Wesley, 5 seconds remaining. He'll wind up with the long drive. Loved by Barrasso and the fans with a big cheer. Barrasso makes the save at the sound of the horn. Now, Neely saying something to Christian Ruutu. The sound of the horn here to finish the first period. 11 shots for the Bruins, 7 for the Buffalo Sabres. But the Sabres had a 3-1 lead late here in the first period. The Bruins come back to tie it at 3. And now, let's go to John Gertler. Scored 2 goals in 12 seconds. Sweeney and Delvin to tie this game at 3. Looking at the 2 goaltenders as we get ready to begin the second period.
The physical part of those goals had nothing really. They played fine. Buffalo played fine in the first period physically, but where they lost it was mentally. They all of a sudden they just stopped thinking.
You got a peanut shell in your upper lip.
No kidding.
You're eating all those peanuts.
I'm not paid to eat peanuts, darling. But if you notice on that second Boston goal, they just pulled away from there. I think Housley was in the corner. He grabbed the puck and just pulled away from Phil, moved right into the slot area for the opportunity. Then Buffalo kind of lost their composure a little bit on that third goal. They coughed the puck up in their own zone. And that's more mental than anything else.
Well, John Tucker has 17 seconds to serve in his penalty. Bruins are on their 5th power play. On the draw, comes back to the line, cleared by Johansson. Hit the linesman Ron Finn. Now tipped by Napier into the Bruins zone. Delvin, right back in front of his own net, gives it to Bourque. Now the pass to send away Linsman to the Buffalo line. Intercepted by Ramsey. There's the pass to Ruutu into the Boston zone with the drive and a high one. Off the glass and over the glass into the crowd as the Sabres come back to full strength.
You know, they kind of talk about Pierre Turgeon has to learn the English language. He doesn't do too bad whatsoever. Remember, he speaks a lot better than the guys that know English.
Yeah, he's doing exceptionally well for an 18-year-old. And
he's trying. I think that's important. I played with some guys in the past, or some of the kids that came down from Quebec City, and they really didn't even try. You know, but he tries the very best. We had him out at a school banquet the other day, you know, and he stumbled a little bit, but he was up there plugging away with a big smile on his face. You always see him smiling.
It was very wise for them to put them with an English family just across the street from Jacques Luce.
I understand it's a real nice family, too. He's very fortunate to be in with the right people and have that guidance.
Now the face-off over the Bruins blue line. They're tied at 3 with Ruutu. Napier and Ludwig in the forward line. Will come back to the Buffalo line. Johansson clearing it onto the stick of Neely, shooting off the glove of Barrasso. Neely with that big shot. Now comes back now. Comes to center. Right back into the Bruins zone. Larson working it through to Neely. Deflects it on to Barrasso, and he'll play it off the glass, but not out. It's kept in. Here's Linsman. Linsman now. Ramsey comes up with it, gets it off the boards to Ruutu, slaps it to center. Wesley, the rookie, sends it back to the Buffalo line. Johansson right into the Bruins zone with it. Tried to get the pass through, intended for Ruutu. Wesley bumped by Ruutu. Johansson keeping it in, but up and comes to center. Neely in over the line, but Courtnall dropped it back. Courtnall overskated the puck, picked off by Lin. Oh, here's Linsman going right in and goal. Firing it. Neely had an open net, and he flipped it wide. Cam Neely, you don't see him miss those too often, but he fired it wide of the Buffalo net. Now Smith keeping it in. He's bumped to the boards, and again the Bruins come back. Linsman to the Buffalo line. He is checked. Cleared by Ruff to center. Bourque will take over. Now Barrasso scooped that one around the board. Donnelly at his own line, but Sweeney's there to keep it in. Here's Sweeney moving in, gets it back. Taken by Housley. Down to the come to Donnelly. Up and over the line. Smith recovers, steps to the Boston line, but Sweeney takes over, and Smith is knocked down and spun around. Went to the ice. Here's Bourque. Now giving it to Sweeney at center. Winds up with the long shot, but is wide. Coming up with the rebound. There's a drive, and he hit the side of the net. Jay Miller. Now back into the Buffalo zone, deep into the Sabres zone. Here's Platt right to the goal crease. A loose puck. Housley comes away with it. Got it to center. Luzak works it. Now taken by Sean Anderson up to the Boston line. Winds up with this long drive. Lemon takes that one away. Luzak will work it right back on the Buffalo net. And Barrasso plays it quickly into the Bruins zone. It'll be played by Lemon. Waiting for it is Foligno. Foligno with a shot. It'll go wide. Taken out by Anderson. Anderson works to the back end behind the net. Amberchuck is there. Getting their backhand drive by Tucker. Lemon makes the save. Now Telvin. Here's Krupp with it. Amberchuck reached for it. Lost to Telvin. Peterson cut off by Foligno. There's the pass, but Amberchuck did not get it in Crowder. Sends away Burries into the Buffalo zone. Back now to Crowder, and he is hit there by Ramsey and knocked down in front of the Buffalo net. Coming away with it is Amberchuck to the Boston line. Trying to work it over. Here's Foligno. The drive, and it went off the skate of Lemelin. The puck will come back to center. Johansson backs up to his own blue line. Watched by Casper. Now gives it to Foligno. Moves it back into the Bruins zone. Larson slapped that one off the boards. Recovered by Ramsey at center. Through now to Shepard. Shepard into the Boston zone, going into the backhand with the drive. Kicked away by Lemelin and Burry. 3-on-3 for the Bruins. Crowder in over the line. Lets the drive go. Gloved by Barrasso, and he'll work it off the glass and over the line. Larson. Now giving it to Casper. Luzak at center. He sends it back in. Luzak ran into Ardeel. Housley in behind the Buffalo net. We are tied at 3 with 4 minutes gone by here in the period. Larson came up on the play. Now Housley takes it away from him. Stevens knocks it back into the corner. Here's a chance right in front. The shot. Barrasso covers up on Byers.
Boy, Housley's really having a tough time out there tonight.
Larson racing after it into the Buffalo zone. Byers scoops it right back into Buffalo territory. Anderson will go after it, and the Bruins are called for icing. 3-3 tie. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Oh, this is where my long-lost father, Giuseppe Don.
End up goaltenders.
Lemelin 4 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties in his last 8 starts. Now Rutu will come back now to Sean Anderson. Goes to the corner with it. Checked by Bourque. Ludwig in there with Neely, knocked away by Bourque. And he backhands the puck to center. Krupp. Napier. Now Krupp comes back with the pass, but off the skate, recovered by Sean Anderson. At center ice. Here's Napier going in now to the corner, trying to one-hand it in front. He did, but Courtnall's there. Coming into the play was Rutu. It'll come back over the line. Sean Anderson missed it. Recovered by Krupp. Now the loose puck. Krupp to the Boston line. Gets by 1. Then is knocked down, and Luzak will send it off the glass to center. Ramsey just steps onto the ice. Here's Neely winding up with the drive, and Barrasso the save and the rebound. It's Napier. Puts it back
here we go.
Of Barrasso. Now Ludwig goes to the corner against Linsman, and there they go.
I don't blame Ludwig for going after him. The whistle had blown, and about 2 seconds after, Linsman continued in and gave Barrasso the little jab, and so Ludwig just followed him right into the boards and tried to caress his head a little bit. Everybody's all tied up. You can see Mike Ramsey. He's got one on his back, one facing him. Christian Rutu's on top of Courtnall. The fellow right there, number 14, he's the leading scorer on the Boston Bruins, and he will be my guest in the second period intermission.
3-3 tie. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Number 8 doing the talking right now. He'll pick up an extra 2-minute penalty, and the Sabres will move on to the power play.
Sabres go to their 4th power play opportunity. This game is tied at 3 with 14:41 remaining in the second period.
Well, Reggie Lemlin is the Boston Bruin goaltender tonight, and there you have a look at his pads, and there's something very different about those goal pads. There's no leather, which is very unusual. I don't know exactly what the material is that he came up with, but certainly no leather on the pads whatsoever, and he's been somewhat successful with them. Certainly the rebounds seem to pop out there pretty good on that material. It worked well for him. Certainly tonight he's settled right down, hasn't he? Now it's time for Tom Barrasso to settle down and see what happens here the last half of this hockey game.
Buffalo penalties number 5, Mike Ramsey, 2 minutes for roughing. Repeating the penalties, Linsman of Boston, 2 minutes for roughing. Neely of Boston, 2 minutes for charging and 2 minutes for roughing. Ludwig of Buffalo, 2 minutes for roughing. And Ramsey of Buffalo, 2 minutes for roughing.
Now Kluzak sends it into the Buffalo zone. The Sabres go to the power play. Tied at 3. Housley at center will shoot it into the Bruins zone. Polino in against Kluzak. And Richuk in the corner. Left it there. It's recovered and tipped away. Sabres try to keep it in, but Burridge is there. He works it right back into the Buffalo zone.
It's good work right there by defenseman Gord Kluzak of the Bruins. He outmuscled 2 or 3 of the Sabres to come up with that free puck and shoot it down the ice, kill a half a minute off the clock.
Polino boxed it over the Buffalo blue line. Again, Kluzak sends it in. Here's Kasper. Kasper trying to get in on goal against Housley. He's tripped up. There will be a penalty to Housley.
Well, Kasper really put a superior move on him, and Housley came out and tripped him down to the ice. He picked him clean on this 1-on-1, and it's highly unusual to see a defenseman get beat in those situations. It's certainly something that shouldn't happen, and let's have a good look at it. It's a pure 1-on-1, and you can see he just blew right by Housley, went to the front of the net. You might want to give that penalty to Tom Barrasso, but he had a choice, either Barrasso or Housley, and he elected to give it to Housley.
No, both teams will have 5 aside now, and in 1 minute and 12 seconds, the Bruins will go to their 6th power play.
But probably why Barrasso was not charged with the penalty, Ted, is because he has the right to go after that puck, and that's exactly what he was doing. You can't get beat on those 1-on-1s. I mean, especially in such a critical area as 20, 30 feet in front of your net. I mean, if a guy walks around you in that position, he's in scot-free for a terrific shot on goal.
Now Sweeney against Tucker. On the draw, Tucker wins and sends it out into the corner. Johansson will stop in behind the Buffalo net. With the pass to Andrechuk. Andrechuk back to Johansson. Ahead now to Tucker into the Bruins zone. He is stopped to the line. Recovered by Krupp. Now Krupp drops to the back. Gives it to Andrechuk. Andrechuk. Krupp. Now back to Andrechuk to the far boards. Pass put off the skate into the Bruins zone. Crowder giving it to Alan Peterson at center. Back to Crowder and over the Buffalo line. Back to Peterson on the backhand. The drive, and it's blocked by Barrasso. Sweeney behind the net. It'll come back now to Telvin at the blue line. Telvin to the far side. Crowder's in front of that. Off the boards. Here's Peterson with it. Here's the pass, and Krupp knocked down in front of that. Crowder and Richuk at center. Waiting now for Johansson. Goes to the corner with it. In behind the net. 13 seconds, and the Bruins will go to the power play. Here's Andrechuk. He drills Telvin to the ice. He gets up. Kicks at it. Now Andrechuk takes a check from Crowder. Burridge comes back. Now the Bruins. Here they come with a 3-on-2 situation. Portnoy just stepped in onto the ice. Portnoy with the pass over for Kasper into the corner. Here it comes to Wesley. Far side. Pass in front. Blocked. It'll come back to the line. Oh, we've got another battle going. Crowder and Ruff, I believe.
They didn't want to give up any territory in front of that Buffalo goal. They started jousting, pushed back a few times, and finally the gloves came off.
3 tie. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Crowder, who's on the other side right there, number 18, and one of the major reasons Lindy Ruff was put back in defense is the fact that he's a pretty tough cookie, and he'll clean the front of the net out. He'll add an awful lot of toughness to the Buffalo Sabres in their own zone.
That guy's got a bazooka there.
Isn't having to carry that around? Camera's not bad, it's just the rest of it. It'll give you a hernia.
Now 30 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Now the referee, Don Koharski, has gone over to the penalty box area.
Did you see Lemieux's power play goal last night?
He made it look so easy.
Oh, no, he got 9
He went in and just changed the speed so quickly, and bing bang, and just like that, it was between the legs. And you know, he talked to Milosh before he went in on that penalty shot. And as soon as he scored, he went right over to Milosh on the as the backup goaltender for the evening for Pittsburgh, and just like there, I told you how to do it, and Lemieux said, "Thank you very much." That's a shame that anybody can make it look so easy.
Face off inside the Buffalo blue line. Taken by Smith. He'll clear it on into the Bruins zone. We remain tied at 3 with 12:15 left in the second period. Fourth. Now Lindsman, he lost it. Ramsey shoot it back into the Bruins zone to 14 seconds. The Sabres will come back to full strength. The Bruins, here they come. With the man advantage, they clear it in. Barassa will knock it to the corner. He goes after it, scoops it up on that left side. Now Ramsey getting it to Arneal, coming onto the ice now is Housley. Housley stops at the Bruins blue line. Here comes Arneal. Arneal with the pass in front. Tipped wide by Smith. Johansson trying to step away. Loose puck at the side of the net. Round to the far side. Ramsey will stop at the left point. Takes a long shot. Blocked. Lindsman sends away Courtnall to the Buffalo lines. Lindsman trailing. It'll come back to Lindsman. Here's the pass right onto the stick of Napier. He'll come away with Krupp. 2-on-1. Napier going in. Over to Krupp in on goal. He could not get the shot. He moved in too close on Lemelin.
Really panicked, didn't he, at the last moment? Lemelin ran right out at him, and whoa, did he ever lose control of the puck in a hurry.
Now Bourque. Krupp will go back into his own zone. The Bruins are 1 for 6 in the power play. Ludwig unable to get to the puck. Off the boards at center. Krupp has it, sends it back, now gives it to Napier. He's got Ruutu in the far left. Here's the pass over to Ruutu. Ruutu back to Napier. Napier back in. Here's Ruutu going after it. Works it back and behind the net, waiting for it is Napier. Here's Ludwig now. Ludwig brings it back, works it to Ruutu. The long shot, gloved by Lemelin. He thought perhaps he could as well put it on the goal with the possibility of a rebound from Lemelin, but that is not the case.
Well, he shot it to the wrong side of the net. That's the problem. Now, let's have a look right here as Sabres move in the Boston zone. The timing was perfect, wasn't it? Arneal to Smith. Smith misses the goal by about a half a foot. Here we go again. This time it's a 2-on-1. Then Yuri Krupp takes the pass from Napier, and he's startled. All of a sudden, the goaltender slides out at him, and he's right on top of him before he realizes it. Couldn't get control of the puck. You know, you're digging for that puck, and you're looking for it, and then all of a sudden you realize the goaltender is charging out at you.
16 shots for the Bruins, 12 for Buffalo. Rookie Glenn Wesley.
One mental lapse certainly in that first period, Ted. They really did the Sabres in so far in this game. Let Boston back into the game.
2 goals within a span of 12 seconds late in that first period for the Bruins. Sabres have that 3-1 lead. Now the Bruins are called for icing. Now the Buffalo Sabres have a total of 47 points right now. They're 17 points away from their total points at the end of last season. They had 64 points. Right now they've got 47.
It's a lot of traveling, isn't it, in one season? When you look back to last year, and they come an awful long ways. Things look good. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the Sabres, the way the Sabres are playing tonight. Certainly they play a little bit better, but they're playing a fairly decent hockey game other than that one mental lapse.
And the Sabres 15 points ahead of their pace of last season. Face off in the Bruins zone as you look at Dave Andreychuk.
If they have him right back on the bit, scoring points almost every game.
Now Tucker, Andreychuk and Polino, forward line for Buffalo. Sweeney against Tucker. Tucker will try to draw it back to Ramsey. Ron Finn now waving Sweeney from the face-off area. That'll bring Bork in.
Sabres are doing a terrific job with Bork tonight. After he makes his pass in his own zone, they're taking him right out of the play.
Comes back to Ramsey. There's a long shot. Loose puck. Recovered by the Bruins. They clear it back to center. Housley working it through now to Polino. Gets it to Andreychuk. Andreychuk, but it's intercepted by Kluzak. Ramsey sends it over to Housley. Housley shoots it back into the Bruins zone to Bork. Oh, and it deflected right to Lemelin. The puck was not held by the goaltender, but Don Koharski says yes, it was. It top free after he had blown the whistle, and that'll mean another face-off in the Bruins zone.
Well, he had it, but not for long. Let's have a look at it. Here comes off the boards. Watch Bork nonchalance it right into the goaltender. The puck really was not under control by Lemelin at any time, and the whistle blew rather quickly. You know, think about Bork. A big part of his game, Ted, is this give-and-go play that you see like Brad Park used to pull off all the time when he's coming out of his own zone and he has a man coming at him to check him. What he'll do is just lay off that short little 5 or 6 foot pass to a forward. Then he jumps right back into the play and they give it back to him. Well, what's happening tonight is once he lays that puck off to the forward, the Sabre player's going right into Bork, and they're not letting him back into the play. They're taking his body totally out of the play. It makes a big difference.
Now Kluzak. Here's the pass to Sweeney at center to the Buffalo line, trying to get to the backhand, brings it back to the point, and he is stopped. Here's Shepard's pass with the break back to Kluzak, knocked down by Fire. Stevens, rather, Kluzak, he's bumped. Shepard, one hand to the head, he gives it to Arneal. He's got Johansson coming up to the play. Johansson breaks towards the net. The shot, oh, great save by Lemelin on Charlie Johansson.
That's the play. That's the play that Johansson has to make with more consistency. He's very capable of moving up the ice, and he should do it more often.
And you're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Face-off in the Bruins zone to Spith against Casper. Here's Flett into the corner. Now Flett will work it through to Casper. Ramsey unable to keep it inside the line. Flett now knocked it to the Buffalo blue line. One-handed by John Anderson, recovered by Casper, but it's an offside call. The Bruins line. 9:15 remaining in the second period. Still tied at 3. There were no goals here in the second period. All 6 goals coming in the first 20 minutes of play. 16 shots for the Bruins, 14 for Buffalo.
You have a look at Kevin McGuire, who was quoted this week as saying, hey, I'm not the only guy in this team that does the fighting. Maybe some other guys ought to get their nose dirty, and I have to agree with him.
And they have tonight. Here comes Talbot with the pass to Burry. He'll go to the Buffalo zone. Barrasso lets it go. Ramsey in to touch it, and the Bruins are called for icing.
You know, Ted, one player that's really in a tough position with the Sabres, they want him to play a physical game, but they don't want him off the ice either, and that's Mike Polino. I mean, it's important that he plays. He's a capable goal scorer. He's a pretty tough customer going up and down the boards. And for him to play super tough, that means he's going to pick up penalties, and they won't have his services. So, on one hand, it's kind of a catch-22. He gets a penalty, and then they might look at disgust. Oh, what are you doing in there? We need you on the ice. And then if he doesn't play it super tough, then they might get upset the other way. So he's really caught in between. And I think just let him go and let him play his natural game.
Face off in the Bruins zone with Ruutu, Ludwig, and Napier. This forward line, Linsman against Ruutu. Linsman wins the draw, sends it back in, Talbot around the glass. Ramsey tries to keep it in at the point of the rolling puck comes over the line. Here's the pass now to Courtnall into the Buffalo zone. Courtnall lets the drive go and it hits John Anderson. Ramsey left it there for John Anderson. Here's the pass at center, tipped by Ludwig, but it's an offside call. 8:37 now remaining
Well, there's a player right there who will take a lot of heat off a player, say like Foligno, because he is one tough little customer, and he'll spend the whole night in the corners with the best of them. Just back, what's his second, third game back, Ted?
Second.
Yeah, it's been a long time, I believe, when he picked up that injury. I remember we were doing an exhibition game, I believe, in Toronto.
Yes, he had to have knee surgery during preseason, and he's been working hard, get back into the lineup. Not too interested in the game at the moment. Reading the Bruins notes. Face-off inside the Buffalo line. Tucker and Linsman. Linsman left it there. Wesley, but it's knocked over the blue line. And Chuck trying to get to it. Wesley. Cleared back into the Buffalo zone. Foligno will go after it. Portland in the forecheck. It'll come onto the stick of Linsman. Foligno cleared it. So held Wesley back of the line. Foligno had his helmet knocked off.
Nearly hit him. Knocked the helmet right off him.
You're watching Sabres hockey at the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Up until last night with the leading in the assist department for rookies with a total of 23. But Joe Nieuwendyk of Calgary had 3 assists last night along with 1 goal. He's got 25, but Johansson with an assist tonight has moved within 1 assist of Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk, well, he's a shoo-in for the Calder Cup trophy. 33 goals, 25 assists already. Kluzak with a drive, and Barrasso kicked that with a fireboard. Here's Arneal. It's back over the line, cleared right back into the Sabres zone. Housley. O'Dwyer watching him. Heading it off the blast now to Arneal at the center. Clears it on into the Bruins zone. Here goes Turgeon in after it. Tried to get it back to Shepard. Housley will keep it in. Here's Turgeon into the corner. Pass. Block. Comes back. Tipped away by the Bruins. And into the Buffalo zone. Johansson. Housley. Head to Turgeon. Right into the Boston zone. He is checked, and it is kept away by Adam Peterson. And both teams making a change as the Bruins are called for icing with 7 minutes, 26 seconds left here in period number 2. Randy Burridge from Fort Erie, Ontario.
Yeah, his nickname is Stump. And he is about the size of a stump.
Well, there's a big banner on the far side. Grind and bump, wear him down, watch out, Stumps back in town.
Just as big as anybody else from the waist up. But it's those short legs.
Oh, hey, there's the water bottle, Mike.
That's your area. Take it, Ted.
Face off in the Bruins zone, Ruutu. And against Casper. Out Kelvin. Round the board to the back into the Sabres zone. Troop hustling back after it. Burridge trying to get there first. And again, the Bruins are called for icing.
Well, with this nice weather, Ted, I thought you'd be out at Glen Oaks today.
No, they don't have the pins in. That's winter time.
When's that stopped you?
It's winter time. Currently, they are playing in a few courses around the area. Except you go backwards. They have the pins on the tees.
Suit you fine.
Face off in the Bruins zone.
3-3 tie. 18 shots on goal for Boston, 14 for the Sabres. Another good crowd here tonight.
Ruutu against Casper and on the draw. Look back to the top of the circle. Kept in now by Krupp. Here's Ramsey. Had his stick being held right to the goal. Crease knocked away. Now to Sweeney. Love down by Krupp at the blue line. Through now to Ludwig. They get a whistle on the play. 7 minutes and 2 seconds now remaining here in the second period. Steve Casper, 18 goals in the season.
Such a talented little hockey player, and I say little, he's physically, he's not a very big player, but boy, I'll tell you what a nice job he does defensively. And this season, it's a real bonus offensively. He has come on strong for Boston this season, and one of the very important hockey players on this team. Terry O'Reilly just thinks the world of him, and he really didn't play that much under Butch Goring, the last Boston Bruin coach. As soon as O'Reilly moved in, he realized how good Casper can be. Of course, he's a teammate of his. And
here's Foligno trying to get a break, but he stopped. Tucker will go after it on the board. Knocked away by Murray. Wesley. on that right side, but too far for Sweeney. It'll go into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso has to play it before a Bruin player got to it. Here comes Andrechuk at center. Gets it into the Bruin zone. Knocked down by Lemon. Johansson is in deep. Picked off almost by Tucker. He would have had a chance in front. Back to Tucker. There's the drive, and it's off Lemon. Wesley working it off the board. Johansson has it at center. Now gives it to Sean Anderson. Anderson turns away from Casper. It'll come on into the Bruin zone, and Larson will go back after it. And the Sabres are called for icing. 3-3 tie. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Mike, see if he can win this one against Smith. He does. Gets it back to Kluzak. Winds up. Where's the drive? And a pad save. Barrasso. Recovered by Neely. Gets it back in behind the Buffalo net. Played by Barrasso. They try to get it out. Neely's there. Big and strong. The pass. Block. Neely gets it again. Clears it through. And a great sliding save by Housley. Back in front. Here's a chance now for Lindgren with a shot that went wide. Portnoy. McGuire finally clears it. It'll come over the blue line. And Smith comes to center. Shoots it into the Boston zone. McGuire along the boards. Troop with the screen shot. Put off Portnoy. On into the corner. Neely. Now McGuire runs into one of the Bruins. Bork and knocks him down. Barrasso comes way out of the net. He'll play it up to Johansson. Gets it through now. Smith sends it back into the Bruin zone. Shepard's on the ice along with Arneal and now Turgeon. Here's Turgeon with it. His check gets away from Brock. Turgeon side of the net, gets it back in front. Arneal missed it. Here's Johansson, knocked it through. It'll come back. Knocked over the line. Shepard scurries back to get it. Here's O'Dwyer. Cleared back over the line. Neely flipping it in with 4 minutes 50 seconds now remaining in the second period. Arneal loading it on into the Bruin zone. Peterson, Turgeon into forecheck. It'll come back now. Stevens rushes to the Buffalo line with Byers. Stevens trying to get around. He does. Here's a chance to drive. That one, I believe, an off Barrasso. Now we've got a mix-up in front of the Buffalo net. Well, Barrasso's trying to get out of the way. That's Stevens.
You know, Turgeon has thrown a couple good hits out there this evening. It's like the rubber man. When somebody hits him, he tends just to slide off the check, and it makes a little 360-degree turn. He's right back into the play again.
Well, Arneal's going to the penalty box along with the rookie Mike Stevens playing in his third game. Now Ruff and Crowder leave the penalty box area.
Now here's what started the whole schmozzle. Watch the front of the net. Everybody's ganged up in there. Arneal, well, we're not going to see it, I don't think, as Arneal really goes to the front of the net and ties that one man up that was bothering Tom Barrasso. Get all kinds of angles on this play. Well, it should, because this is a very important part of this hockey game. With the game tied, see the man falls on top of Tom Barrasso. He'll get up. There'll be a Sabre right there to work him over a little bit. Give him a reminder. Sabres have not been pushed out of this game physically tonight.
The next televised game will be Saturday from Landover, Maryland, and TV 49. It'll be a 7:30 start. Capitals and the Sabres. Napier backhands it into the Bruins zone. Kelvin goes back after it. Works it to center. Rutus let it come back to the line out of Ramsey. He'll flip it back into the Bruins zone. Peterson. Now Burry. Ramsey has to go back after it. Watched by Casper. He'll give it to Johansson. Now the pass through sends away Ludwig into the Boston zone with the shot. Off the glass. Napier now. Rutu's in front of the net, but Crowder recovers for the Bruins. Ruff. Now Rutu tried to get over Larson. Here comes Ludwig. Foligno breaking towards it at the pass. He shoots. He scores! Mike Foligno! Beautiful setup from Jan Ludwig. And the Sabres go into the lead 4-3.
Well, I think Jan Ludwig just
found himself a regular job. This is a sensational play. Goes to the forehand. The timing is perfect. Give Foligno an awful lot of credit. He had a one-time that puck, and the man was pretty close to him, bothering him all the way in. He scored it almost down on his knees. That puts Sabres ahead 4-3. What a pass by Ludwig. Good heads-up play. Good awareness. Find out where his teammates are. Just don't bury the head and throw the puck away. Stupidly held on to it at the last moment, waited for Foligno to get himself in good position in the crease area, and just snapped it right in there on the money.
So the Sabres have gone into a 4-3 lead. 3:39 remaining here in the second period. They're hoping, of course, they don't have that mental lapse that they did late in the first period, and the Bruins scored 2 goals within a span of 12 seconds. Foligno, hit by Kluzak. Now Ruff sends it around the board to center. Kluzak will flip it back in. Bruins get it back onside. Ruff playing back on defense. Tonight, as he did against the New York Islanders. Here's Levelin playing it now. Now there's going to be a penalty, I believe, to Foligno. Foligno will go to the penalty box. He crunched Kluzak in behind the Bruins net. Here comes Courtnall. Docked away. Here comes Courtnall in over the line now. Back to Bork. Bork now. Delayed penalty coming to Buffalo. Recovered by Ruff. And the fans don't like that. An elbowing call on Foligno. But he had been hit heavily by Kluzak at the Buffalo blue line. Then Foligno retaliates. Now here's the first check at the Buffalo blue line. Now there comes Kluzak. Wham! Oh, did he nail Foligno and sent him to his backside. Now here it is at the other end. Kluzak. Foligno comes in. Oh, did he crank him there with the elbow? Foligno just cranked Kluzak. Now Kluzak goes over to say a few words to Foligno. And Kluzak may be getting a 10-minute misconduct. Kluzak went over. He was just yelling at Foligno. Kluzak's going to go right to the Bruins dressing room. Well, Kluzak lost his cool last week in Boston when Chris Nyland started to yell at Kluzak and said he was going to go after his knees. Kluzak lost complete control there. Picked up a 10-minute misconduct. Now let's pick up the penalty.
To number 6, Gord Kluzak, 10-minute misconduct. Kluzak, 10-minute misconduct. The time, 17:07. Fourth Buffalo goal, his 15th of the season, scored by number 17, Mike Foligno. Number 36, Jan Ludwig, and number 21, Christian Ruutu. Foligno from Ludwig and Ruutu. The time, 16:21.
The Sabres with a 4-3 lead. Terry O'Reilly now has lost one of his better defensemen in Gord Kluzak for 10 minutes. Ludwig. Now Ruutu has picked up 3 assists tonight. Ludwig gets his first point. The Buffalo Sabre in his second game. But the Sabres have taken a 4-3 lead. 2:53 remaining. But right now the Bruins are on the power play. Foligno in the penalty box. Back to Bork. A big shot. He whistled that one just wide of the far goal post. That cleared now by Smith into the Bruins zone. Bork will go back after it. A big loss for the Bruins, and Coach Terry O'Reilly, as Kluzak has picked up a 10-minute misconduct penalty. Puck comes back into the Buffalo zone. Linsman goes to the corner. Out the way, behind the net, into the corner. Here's Linsman. Behind the net, trying to work it in front, gets it back to Television. Blocked nicely now by Smith. He's got Napier with him. Up into the Bruins zone. Smith sends it in front of the net, but Napier was late getting to it. Now the Bruins come right back. Linsman into the Buffalo zone. In through the corner, he's got Neely in front. Gloved by Barrasso. He tried to get it to Neely alone in front of the Buffalo net, but his pass went astray and right into the glove of Tom Barrasso. 2 minutes and 8 seconds now remaining. 1:15 left in the penalty to Foligno. And there you see Barrasso playing in his 13th of the last 14 games for the Buffalo Sabres. And he has won 7 of his last 8 starts. 110, lost 10, and tied 5 overall. 21 shots for the Bruins. 10 here in this second period. 16 for the Buffalo Sabres. Total of 9. Bruins on their 7th power play. Back to Bork. He gives it to Wesley. Back to Bork. He lost it over the blue line. Ruku, 3 assists tonight. Here is Bork. Steps to the Buffalo line. Blocked now by Krug. Krug clearing it. Comes back over the Buffalo line, and Wesley gains control. 1:48 left here in the second period. Bruins with the extra man. Wesley at center. He pumped that one off the corner board, but it's an offside call. The Buffalo line, 1 minute 36 seconds now remaining. The Sabres will be at home on Friday night against the New Jersey Devils. That game will be radio coverage only. So come on down to see the Buffalo Sabres in action at Memorial Auditorium. Call the Buffalo Sabres ticket office. Open 9 to 5 daily. And see the New Jersey Devils on Friday night. Friday's game, radio coverage only on the WBEN radio network. Now Donnelly yet against Linsman. 43 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Wesley watched by Napier. Now giving it to Bork. Here comes to Courtney. Courtney dropped to the back of the line. Now Courtney moving in. Bruins on the power play for 25 seconds. Courtney for Wesley. Lost it. Napier clears it. There's a race for the puck. Picked off by Donnelly. Comes in over the line. Donnelly trying to get in the backhand drive. And a high one. It was going in behind the net, but Lemelin stopped it. 12 seconds left in the Bruins power play. Wesley. 1 minute to go in the period. Ahead to Courtney. Slides right through to Barrasso. Barrasso will play it off the glass. Cleared by Donnelly to the line. Reno steps onto the ice. Now Courtney. 48 seconds left in the period. Donnelly's got it. Here he comes to the Boston line. Will clear it on into the corner. Level on the left is there for Alan Peterson. Polino in on the play. Unable to keep it in. Linsman's got it. He'll send it to center ice. John Anderson missed it. A race for the puck. Knocked away. Nicely by Krug. Andrechuk. 30 seconds left in the period. Tucker comes in over the line. Here's Tucker. Still with it. He sends it in front. The drive. Oh, Lemelin. What a save on Andrechuk. Back it comes to Krug. 20 seconds left in the period. The shot. It hit Andrechuk up high. Here's Tucker trying to get a drive. Knocked away by Peterson into the corner. Polino golfs at it. Over the glass into the crowd with 10 seconds to go. Well, you can't say the fans aren't enjoying this one tonight. Here's the chance. Tucker. Polino will move towards the net. Andrechuk towards the net. Over to Polino. Then it goes to Andrechuk. Quick shot. And Lemelin covers up that Andrechuk into the rebound. And again, Lemelin makes the save in the short side. 10 seconds remaining in the second period. It'll be Tucker. And against Casper here, Tucker will try to draw it back to Housley in an attempt to get the final shot on goal before the end of the period. They'll go to the corner. 9 seconds left. Comes to the side of the net. Casper almost lost it there to Andrechuk. 4 seconds to go. That'll do it. And the Sabres will take a 1-goal lead into the second intermission. Both teams had 10 shots in that second period. 21 overall for the Bruins, 17 for the Buffalo Sabres. And the Sabres get the lone goal from Polino in the second period, and they take a 4-3 lead going into the third period of play. And now let's go to John Gertler. John, and we are ready now to begin the third period of the Buffalo holding on to a 4-3 lead. Sabres leading after 2 periods of play of 1:13 and tied 2. But of course this game is far from over the way the Boston Bruins can play. They just continue to go at you, especially in third period. On the draw now, it comes back to Ramsey. Ramsey will work it over to Napier. Shoots it into the Bruins zone. Knocked away. Here goes Ludwig and on goal. But, oh, he couldn't get the shot away. Ludwig back to Johansson. There's his drive. That one didn't get through to Lemelin. Now here's Ruutu. Into the corner. Sends it back in behind the Boston net. Napier comes up with it. He's got Ludwig in front. Ludwig makes his check to the board. Bork will play it, but not out. Johansson back into the corner. It'll come now to Ludwig. Ludwig bumps in there by Bork. It'll come back to Napier. There's the quick shot. Lemelin makes the save. Ludwig with it again. Ludwig in front. Here's the drive. Oh, Ramsey on the playback and shot. He scores! Craig Grant. Craig Mike Ramsey. I'm going back to the old days. Mike Ramsey. And the Sabres have taken a 5-3 lead.
Yeah, and the score kind of brings you back to the old days, too. There's the shot right there by Napier, but what a job Ludwig does. For the past half minute, he completely controlled the play, and watch the puck right here. Was Ramsey sharp, jumped up from his defensive position, pounced on the puck, and drilled it home. Terrific job by Jan Ludwig to make this puck come free. He did all the spade work. Then Ramsey, really sharp, wasn't he? Didn't waste any time. Instead of just laying back here and hesitating, immediately he just got off the mark and moved in with authority.
Ramsey gets his third goal of the season from Ruutu and Ludwig. Ruutu picks up his fourth assist of the game.
That was a hard-working goal right there for Buffalo. Very deserving of that goal.
Well, that forward line really pressed. It pressed hard deep into the Bruins zone. Here's the announcement of the goal.
Assist number 21, Christian Ruutu. And number 36, Jan Ludwig. Ramsey from Ruutu and Ludwig. The time, 40 seconds.
Now Larson sends it through. They'll come back to the Boston line. Miller into the Buffalo zone. Here goes Jay Miller now. He's been held pointless in the last 8 games. They'll come up to the line. Polino skates to center with it. Will clear it on in. Turgeon steps onto the ice with Shepard and Dardeal. Buffalo taking a 2-goal lead early here in the third period, and they are missing by Gord Klusak. He remains in the penalty box for that 10-minute misconduct. Now Larson behind the net. It'll come back. Turgeon leaving it for Anderson. Wesley and Arneal on the far board. Tweedy will recover for Boston. Goes in behind the net. He's been forechecked and Byers cleared it. He took a check from Shepard. Now taken by Group at center. Third and on into the Bruins zone. Larson. It'll be taken by Group with a long shot, and that one went wide. Now Dwyer giving it to Sweeney up into the Buffalo zone. He looks back, but he put it right on the stick of Shepard and cleared it to center. Delvin will clear it in. Bruins get it back onside. Group in the corner. Now giving it to Anderson. Over the blue line to center right. Shooting it in to the Bruins zone. Lemelin. Peterson. Miller hit from behind by Donnelly. Now Neely to the far side. We've got to watch this one. Miller's on the ice. So is McGuire. It'll come back to Telvin. Here's Miller getting up. Could not get the shot. Now McGuire will take it. Gives it to Donnelly. Off the skate of Miller. Now comes back to Ramsey. He'll give it to Johansson. Into Ramsey. Over the line to Smith. Now the pass to Donnelly. Tips that one on into the Bruins zone. Peterson steps away from McGuire. Now McGuire will go after it. McGuire trying to keep it in for Buffalo. Back to Ruff. Ruff sends it back in behind the net. Here's Smith trying to move it in front. Smith now, one hand, he gets it. Oh, here's a chance right in front. A loose puck. Housley was way in deep. Now taken by Ludwig. Ludwig kicking at it. Ludwig gets it over to Housley. Wrapped it behind the net. Another shot, another save, another shot. Oh, Lemelin sprawled in the goal crease, making a couple of great saves for the Bruins.
Boy, Ludwig, what an opportunity again to score here this evening. Did a terrific job setting them up, but he can't put them away tonight.
You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
The work of Ludwig right here. He'll pop it over to the far side, and Housley with a monster windup, and he drills it about 3 feet wide of the net. Who would have thought, Ted, before this game tonight, that Jan Ludwig
would have made the difference in this hockey game. There was the opportunity for him right there through a maze of players. Somehow the puck still hit the goaltender Lemelin.
And the draw, quick shot by Rutu. Here's Burridge in the far side. Yeah, Mark Napier's playing a strong game tonight, too.
Napier, Arneal, and Ludwig. So-called lesser lights. Well, they're not lesser lights tonight.
Wesley in over the line, but it's an offside call at the Buffalo blue line.
Hey, they're the guys you really have to have a lot of help from. You know, you think of your big guns, your big stars like Andrechuk and Housley and Barrasso and Ramsey. What about the so-called lesser lights? I mean, it's so important that they play well. Nothing stopping them from jumping up and really winning some hockey games by themselves. They certainly have enough ability. They wouldn't be in the National Hockey League on a given night. They can really have big games. Ludwig's just a tough kid. I'll tell you, he is tough as nails. He play the corners well.
Face-off will be over the Buffalo blue line. Sabres have had 6 shots in this period. And the Bruins have yet to test Barrasso.
Well, keep in mind now, Buffalo, they were up 2 goals before in this hockey game. They led up, and the game was tied just as... Oh, here we go right here. Foligno's tied up with Stevens possibly, huh?
I think it's Fires.
Fires, watch the headbutting. Nobody will let free. As soon as you let free, you're going to get a punch in the mouth. So what happened there, those two were standing beside each other, and they got talking back and forth, and finally somebody said the wrong thing, and away they go.
With the score, Buffalo 5, Boston 3. You're watching Sabres hockey in the Niagara Frontiers.
Lyndon Byers right over there. You see him talking to Foligno over the glass, and Mike Foligno in the other penalty box.
Well, now
go for 5 minutes.
5 minutes for fighting. Time 3:56.
Now they both go for fighting. You know, Foligno, he's so into this game, Ted. I mean, he's just right there, ready to spring at any moment. It was so important tonight for Buffalo coming into this hockey game that they didn't get pushed out of their own building. And of course, it's more important to win the hockey game. They're a long way from winning yet with 16:04 remaining. They still have the 2-goal lead, but they played an awful sound hockey game and a very physical game. They haven't backed down from Boston at all.
Face-off over the Buffalo blue line with Tucker winning the draw. Back to Krug. Now it'll come to Sean Anderson. Well, Jay Miller's probably thinking, I got to get into a fight somewhere along here. Here's Andrechuk to McGuire. Blasted that one off the glass. Now Bork against Krug. He lost it. Krug for the good play, getting help from Andrechuk, and it's cleared back into the Bruins zone.
Well, if Miller wants to go, he's going to have to take on Kevin McGuire because he's just patrolling the same side and they're watching one another.
Now Krupp runs into Miller. Miller just spins Krupp around. Bork to the far side. And now Krupp takes Miller out of the play, knocks him down. Says, here's, have some of your own medicine. Now McGuire's hit from behind by Miller. Uh-oh, they could go.
There they go, right there.
Oh, here they go. I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, McGuire's really getting in a couple right. They're smacking the heck out of one another. Watch McGuire's left hand. He'll switch. He'll go with the right, and then he'll reach a certain point. He'll start coming back with the left. Now, finally, Miller's coming on, standing up, and McGuire went down, and he leveled him with a couple good rights.
Well, they said it was going to be a long evening. They said it was going to be filled with fights. And
unfortunately, you can't be pushed around in your own building. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can't let the opposing tough guys push you around and intimidate everybody. McGuire goes out, and it's just checkmate. So every time Boston plays Buffalo now, they want to send Miller out. They know ahead of time that McGuire will be there to take him on.
And it looks like Miller's picked up an extra 2. And you're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontiers Sports Network.
A big difference, doesn't it? When Buffalo stands right up to them.
That's right. Miller gets 2 extra for roughing. Sure does, Mike. And
no, it really does. I mean, it's all the difference in the world. So what's the difference between home and Boston? Why does it happen here, yet it didn't happen in Boston?
On the draw now comes back to Smith. He'll work it over. Buffalo going to its 5th power play. Smith comes to center. He'll come back over the line. Rutu with 4 assists tonight. Now Burridge will keep it in for the Bruins, but Rutu is back to handle it. 5-3 Buffalo leading. Rutu gates to center. Now to the Boston line, still with it. Sends it into the side. Shepard missed it. Bork will take over. But it was blocked, knocked out by Turgeon. Rutu, the shot! And that one over the glass and into the crowd.
Boy, that's terrific forechecking by the Sabres. They're right on top of their game, saving the best till last. They went into this period with a 1-goal lead, and there you're looking at Christian Rutu, 4 assists in tonight's game, season high for the club this season. In his 2nd year, he was chosen to play in the All-Star game, which will be played in St. Louis, I believe, February the 9th. He has just come on so strong this season. Of course, he had a pretty good rookie season last year, and you know, you're never quite sure until you see somebody put a couple seasons together, and he hasn't backed down an inch this year. And what an instigator, too. He makes an awful lot of things happen out there, and there's a nice stand-up save, wasn't it, by the goaltender Lemelin. He will not drop down. He stood right up and challenged the shooter, came out about 3 or 4 feet, cut the angle right down, and John Tucker has had a marvelous game here tonight, considering the time he's been off.
Tucker winning the draw from Lindsman back to Johansson. In now for Andrechuk. Andrechuk taking to the boards, but he sends it in behind the Bruins net. Here's Shepard getting it back. Andrechuk into the corner. Here's the pass right for the goal crease. Anderson works it back in. Into the corner. Taken by Shepard. Almost got it to Tucker, who was alone to the right of Lemelin. Anderson back after. 48 seconds left in the power play for the Sabres. Anderson steps to center. Wraps backward around the board. Here's Tucker. Let it come back to the point to Johansson. In it goes to Andrechuk. Winds up, makes the shot. Quick drive, and that would have been off leg and goes to the far side. Anderson trying to send it back into, but it's not to center. 24 seconds left in the Buffalo power play. Now giving it to Anderson. Back it comes to Johansson. Far side pass. Goes to Shepard into the Bruins zone with Andrechuk breaking towards the net. Now it'll come back to the blue line to Rupp. Rupp took a drive. It was blocked. A loose puck. Rupp goes back after it. And Rupp makes another save.
Plays like that win you hockey games. Second effort.
Now the penalty is expired. Buffalo 1 for 5 in the power play. They have a 2-goal lead over the Bruins here in the 3rd. Dan Ludwig is back on. Sends away Nathan into the Bruins zone. It'll be taken by Rutu. Rutu knocking it to the corner. Bork with it. Up for Neely. Loose puck recovered by Rutu. With Ludwig. Sends it in. Hit the back of the Bruins net. Lindsman. Right into the buff. Oh, all right. Check by Ramsey. All right. Lindsman down. Here's Neely going into the corner. Sends it back in behind the net. Johansson into the corner. Now Courtnall comes up with it. Neely breaks towards the net. It'll come back. There's the long shot. Knocked out in front. There's going to be a penalty going to Ramsey for taking care of Lindsman in front of the Buffalo net. A holding call on Mike Ramsey. Hey, 5-3 Buffalo. And you're watching Sabres hockey at the Niagara Frontier.
Still is alive and doing very well here tonight. Watch Ramsey come right in, up and over. Not quite, but he got a pretty good piece of him. Actually, he sucked him in to go to the outside. He put the stick on the opposite side, and Lindsman didn't have any choice. He went to the middle. The other defenseman would have smacked him.
12-14 left. And the Bruins go to the power play. This is their 8th of the game. They're 1 for 7. Here's Rutu keeping it in. Now the Sabres will try to hold off the Bruins here. This power play, the Bruins will break right back into the game. Crowder. Up it comes to Sweeney. Johansson. They try to clear it, get it back over the line. Now Wesley. Larson with it. Moved slowly to the line. Casper, but Rutu's there to knock it back to the Bruins line. Wesley. 1:20 remaining in the Bruins power play. Larson. Out of the line trying to get around Krupp. Larson goes to the corner. Stop. Working it back. Back in it goes to Larson. Now Crowder's in front of the net with Ruff, but it's picked off nicely by Smith. He'll send it over to Napier. He lets the drive go. Lemelin makes a save. The rebound. Smith tried to get in after it, but Lemelin holds on. 11-12 remaining in the third period. 55 seconds to go. And the penalty to Mike Ramsey.
You know what Mike Ramsey needs when he's throwing a hip check? He needs a little more showmanship, Ted. You ever see the guys when they hit the home run in the big leagues? They kind of stand there and they watch it go out of the park. But when you throw a good hip check, you see you have to stop. Then you look up and you watch the guy flipping through the air. Here it is. This is the way the box works when you're killing a penalty. Missed perfectly. Squared off very nicely. Good positioning by Doug Smith. Nice lead pass. You notice Napier didn't have to slow down for that pass. He could continue on his merry way. And right there, very important, Doug Smith follows up in the shot, goes towards the goal looking for the rebound.
Now Smith against Linseman. Bruins still on the power play. Smith wins it. Here's the long shot, but that one goes over the glass into the crowd.
And Ted, I'm sure you wouldn't be totally surprised to see the Boston Bruins make a run at this score here before the game is over. Buffalo are up 2. Yet there's no time to relax. They relaxed a little bit in the first period, and it cost them dearly. They're in the same position here again. Hopefully they learned from their mistakes earlier in this game. Boston, they'll peck away and they'll peck away. They'll try to capitalize on Buffalo's mistakes until about the 4 or 5 minute mark, and then they'll really open up offensively and try to come up with offensive opportunities themselves.
On the draw now, Smith tipping it out into the Bruins zone. Bork with it. Now Kluzak is back on the ice after serving that misconduct. Taking it by Kluzak. Here to go to Courtnall. Courtnall trying to get in on goal, but Smith is there. Now Smith sends it the length of the ice into the Bruins zone. 29 seconds remaining in the power play for Boston. Bork fires that one off the glass. Napier hit from behind by Neely. He'll come back to Bork. Swings it over now to Kluzak. Back now to Courtnall. Does not get the shot. Napier. He'll clear it off the glass back into the Bruins zone. 8 seconds with the Sabres will return to full strength. Now they'll try it again. Ramsey steps onto the ice. And the Bruins go 1 for 8 in the power play. Housley. Arneal. Over for Johansson. Long pass to Rutu off the plate of his stick into the Bruins zone. Peterson slaps it to center. Housley will clear it back in. Well, Ludwig didn't get back onside. It'll go back to center ice. Now Ruff tries to clear it. He blocks it. Klepp runs into Ruff. Kelvin. Peterson up at center. Dwyer will clear it in. Lasso around the boards. Here's Klepp with it. And the puck comes to center ice. Well, we got an elbowing call coming here. It might have been Stevens on Ruff. There's Stevens.
See Ludwig right there. He intercepts Stevens. He has a hold of him, helping his partner out a little bit. Oh, now he fed him one. Now they will go at it. Oh, he's got Stevens in a nice position. Stevens committed himself. He had him bent right over. He could have gave him an awful wicked haymaker. Now he'll just tap him on the back of the head. And neither one can really free each other up here for a good wallop.
Oh, an uppercut by Ludwig.
It's the old over and under, Ted.
He's a feisty little competitor. Jan Ludwig.
Beats nails and spits rust. He's here to play. Now he comes in with the left. He's fighting a pretty big guy there, believe me. Stevens is pretty tall and he's awful heavy.
Still waiting now for the linesman to try and step in.
All right, now here's where the linesman just step in, call it. That's it. More than likely it'll just be rabbit punches from here on in. Somebody will reach down, grab the back of their pants and pull somebody down to the ice, and that'll be the end of it. Now they break it up.
Well, do you think Jan Ludwig's going to be quite a favorite here with the auditorium?
Do you think Jan Ludwig will have any problem sleeping tonight. Made a big difference in this hockey game, Ted. An awful big difference. He's been the most obvious player on the ice tonight.
Well, early in the third period, Napier, Ruutu, and Ludwig, they just climbed all over the Bruins, deep in the Bruins zone, paid off with the Sabres' 5th goal to put them into a 2-goal lead.
You know, he's very hungry for a job. He realizes coming back that the team is playing pretty well and they're winning more than they're losing. Could be difficult to hold on to a job, and he's made the best of his opportunities. And so he should have an awful lot left to really help this hockey club out the last part of the season, because he's well rested. He hasn't played all season. What about players like Clark Gillies? You think he won't be like a Brahma bull and hungry by the time he gets back? He'll be wired. You have Adam Creighton. Now you have all these guys jockeying for jobs and positions. Everybody realizes they can't take a night off. If you take a night off and play poorly, you might be gone. You might never get your position back again.
9:32 left here in the third period. And we're going over the penalties now. Oh, we're going to take a look at that check by Ramsey inside the line. And as a matter of fact, Mike Ramsey, I think after he threw the check, he gets hurt.
Right here. He runs into Cordnell. You notice Cordnell's left hand. He left with the right. He couldn't leave with the left because his left hand is in a cast. And he limped off the ice. Talking about Ramsey right now. And so he has the poor fetlock at this point in the game. Here's Mike Foligno. He's 17. Just kind of looks like, what, Ruth Buzzy right there in side profile.
So he's older than 17. He's older than 17. He's got to be 20-something.
Ruth Buzzy.
Uh-oh, here they go. Foligno and Kluzak.
Well, this has been going on for a long time. Kluzak really gave it to him. Caught Foligno off balance. This fight has been coming now for 3 games. If you remember, Foligno was thrown out of the game in Boston 2 games ago for spearing Kluzak after Kluzak clubbed him on the back with his stick. Foligno missed that game, and they've been going at one another now for the past 2 or 3 games. And you see the results right there. Kluzak's an awful big boy. Took a lot of guts for Mike Foligno to stand up to somebody that size.
Well, Kluzak's gone for another 5 minutes, and he's been one of their steadier defensemen.
Yeah, that's a big man to get out of there as far as Buffalo's concerned, but it doesn't help to have Mike Foligno off the ice either. But that goes back to reiterate what I was talking about before.
Now look at Mike. They're trying to cool down Kluzak in the penalty box. I mean, he's just livid.
But, you know, he really got into a big deal in the penalty box with Chris Nyland. The last time they played the Montreal Canadiens, they got into the penalty box, and Nyland hit a sore spot. He started needling him, and he said, wait till I get out there and going for your knees. Well, his knees are so poor, he missed all last season, and one good hit in the knees, and his career might be over. And Nyland said he was going for the knees. And he went absolutely bananas in the penalty box. He tried to climb right over top of the glass to get at Nyland, but Nyland just stood back and kind of chuckled at him and said, I got you.
Let's pick up the penalties again. Kluzak's picked up an extra 2.
Number 17, Mike Foligno. 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct. Kluzak, 2 minutes for instigating, 5 minutes for fighting, and a game misconduct. Foligno, 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct. The time, 10:28.
So Buffalo gets the extra deuce.
Buffalo, I mean the Bruins.
No, Buffalo gets the advantage for 2 minutes.
You said they got the extra deuce. I thought you meant they got the extra 2 minutes.
Boy, you're pernickety some nights.
They don't have a total of 3 minutes.
Now, something interesting right here. Keep in mind now, that's the 3rd game suspension, game misconduct for Mike Foligno.
What about Foligno? I know that at least 2.
9:32 left here in the third period.
And does that mean a suspension now, the 3rd game misconduct?
I'll be all right.
Well, they had appealed the last one. I don't know what become of the appeal.
Nothing came of the last appeal. It didn't go against Mike, I don't think.
No. If that's the case, then it would be his second one.
I'd rather see Foligno just play the way he is right now instead of saying, hey, keep calm, Mike, we need you on the ice. Let him take just to his natural flow.
Here comes Napier. Buffalo on the power play with Tucker stopping it. Back it comes to Housley. Housley gets it to Smith. Smith sends it on into Andrechuk. Napier at the side of the net. Likes to get it to Smith. The shot blocked, knocked away. Burridge has got it. Smith chasing him into the Buffalo zone. Now Smith leaving it there for Andrechuk. Gates back to center. Out the Boston line. He was held up there for a moment. And Housley must go after it, but he gets help from Barrasso.
Housley. One more goal by Buffalo, I'm sure would put the lid on it, Ted.
To believe the Bruins have not had a shot on Tom Barrasso here in this third period.
The way Buffalo are checking, I could believe it. They have no room to work. Buffalo are all over them.
And the Sabres have had 7 shots on Lemelin. Going on one of them. That comes back into the Bruins zone, taken by Peterson. He cleared it without the glass and into the Buffalo zone. Shepard back after 44 seconds left on the power play. Here's Turgeon into the Boston zone. Going to the corner. Shepard goes in front. Turgeon right behind the net. Still with him. Gives it to Sean Anderson. Back in now. Shepard into the corner for Ruutu. It'll come back to Johansson. Back to Ruutu. Shepard with his back to Lemelin, the side of the net. Turgeon's in front of the net. Backs up. There's a shot deflected by Shepard with Wyatt Anderson. Works to the back end now. Turgeon blocks it. Here's Telvin. Loose puck. Telvin will come away with it now for the Bruins and clear it with just 6 seconds left in the Buffalo power play. The Sabres go 1 for 7 in the power play. The Bruins are 1 for 8.
160 minutes of penalty so far in this contest tonight. It's not over yet.
Now it's slapped back into the Bruins zone. Larson. Kept in by Andrechuk. Now Lemelin. Left it for Larson. Here's the pass to Sweeney. Here's the long pass intended for Crowder. Barrasso clearing it around the boards. It'll come off the skate of the referee, but blocked by Tucker with a good move. And he had to sidestep the referee, Don Koharski. Now knocked out by Andrechuk. Here's Andrechuk into the Bruins zone. He keeps it in, backhands it high into the corner. Tucker gloves it down along the boards. Left it there, Crowder. Now Tucker lost his stick. Sweeney has it. Check from behind. The puck will come to center. Krug will shoot it quick back into the Bruins zone. 6:35 left in the third period. 5-3 Buffalo leading. Now Courtnall. It's blocked. Sweeney lost it to Ruutu. Taken by Smith. Played it on into the Bruins zone. Telvin. Up it comes to Bork. The pass to Neely. Takes the shot, the drive, and Johansson got his stick on that one. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Catch this kind of action with a...
Here in the third period, as you see the Sabres with a 2-goal lead over the Boston Bruins.
Buffalo needs a game like this. They need a real tough hockey game. Back each other up, pull for each other all the way through the 60 minutes. Especially when you're playing an interdivision hockey game. Win tonight will put them 10 points behind Boston.
And here's a drive, and Barrasso the save, and he will play it down the ice and into the Bruins zone, but it'll be called icing on Buffalo. 5:58 left on the clock.
You know, 10 points sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But it's amazing. You win a couple more hockey games, and Boston, they lose a couple. All of a sudden, you're 4, 5, 6 points behind, and it happens that quickly. There you're looking at the architect right there on Ted Sater. Don Lever on the other side. Barry Smith working on the headsets tonight upstairs, sending down instructions.
And of course, a win here tonight for Buffalo would move them back into a 6-point lead over the Hartford Whalers and an 8-point lead over the last place Quebec Nordiques. But still 5:58 remaining. Bruins have managed 1 shot on Barrasso here in this period. Housley clearing it up. Arneal will backhand it into the Bruins zone. Conley racing after, but Telvin beating him to the puck. Now Bork. Loose puck comes to the side of the net. Bork. Up it comes to Linsman. His pass into the Buffalo zone. Swept away, but Housley cannot keep it out. Now he comes up with it, gets it off the boards. Here's Arneal. Clearing it back to the Boston line. Housley knocked it through. It's an outside call at the Boston line. The Sabres will be at home on Friday night against the New Jersey Devils. That game will not be on cable TV, but catch it on the WBN radio network. Then it's into Washington to play the Capitals on Saturday night, a 7:30 start at TV 49. Then into New Jersey to play the Devils again on Monday. Radio coverage only on Monday night. Back home a week from tonight to play the Montreal Canadiens. And that will be our next cable game here.
You know, Ted, the Penguins have a 5-2 lead over the Blackhawks in the second period. Guess who just got his 100th point already? Mario Lemieux. Boy, that won't be an easy 2 points. New Jersey, they're a hungry hockey club right now, and they're in a very tight division, so New Jersey can't afford to take a night off.
That win for Pittsburgh would put them into a tie with the New Jersey Devils. Ruff going back after it, getting it off the glass, but it's gloved down out, taken by Tucker. Here's the pass to Andreychuk into the Bruin zone. But it's an offside call. The puck going over the two lines. And
well, certainly give the Sabres full marks here for this effort tonight. It's really is very, very difficult to find any soft spots in their game this evening other than that one mental lapse late in the first period. Good to see teams like New Jersey move up the standings a little bit, huh? They paid their dues for so many years.
The Bruins have managed one shot here in the third period. 25 shots for Buffalo, 22 for the Bruins. Anderson's pass now to McGuire. But apparently it's an offside call. That'll bring the faceoff back inside the Buffalo blue line.
You know, here's an interesting stat. You see a player like Dave Andreychuk, he's on the ice so much for Buffalo. He's always in the action with opportunities in around the net. He has 146 shots this year. Now, would you believe that a defenseman for the Bruins, and Raymond Bourque, has 210 shots? It just gives you an idea of the impact he has during a given hockey game.
McGuire on the far side with it. Clearing it just over the line. Now Larson will shoot it back in. And Barrasso will leave it for Lindy Ruff. Slaps that one around the board. Oh, Ruff and Miller. No,
Miller pulled away. He pulled away and Ruff went after him.
Now Sweeney back at his own line. Giving it to Larson. He'll send it to the far side. Now get back into the Buffalo zone. Johansson. There's the long pass up on the right side, but McGuire decides to go to the bench, and the Buffalo will make a player change. Ruutu, Donnelly, Napier now on the forward line. Dan Ludwig remains in the penalty box. Swart shoots it in off the corner boards, taken by Donnelly and behind the net. Now Donnelly stopping up. He's checked by Burridge. Burridge goes down. Donnelly comes away with it. Ruutu, he'll flip it on into the Bruins zone. A race for the puck. Napier moving in there with Johansson and Bourque. Walk to the far side. Burridge waiting for it. He's bumped in there by Donnelly. Knocked out, kept in by Ruutu. Donnelly behind the net. And Elvin takes a run at Donnelly. Asper. Burridge. 3:40 left to play here in the third period. Drops it back, but Shepard's there. Shepard lost his stick. He kicked it right into the Bruins zone. A race for the puck. Wesley stopped by Krupp. Here's Krupp waiting for some help. Up by Larson. Krupp trying to get away. They keep it inside the Bruins line. Taken by Shepard. The drive. And Levelin makes the save and knocks it to the far side. 3:10 left. And now it's kept in by Smith-Levelin. Leaves it behind the net. 3 minutes now left here in the third period. 5-3 Buffalo leading, but here comes Linsman in over the line. Nobody was with him, and Ruff will shoot it to center. Loose puck. Wesley drops it back. Here's a chance for the Bruins. Neely, but a great block there by Lindy Ruff, the captain of the Sabres. Now taken by Housley. He gives it to Tucker. And Lindy Ruff playing exceptionally well again. Back in defense for the Sabres tonight. Now they try to come back. It'll come to center. Anderson knocking it inside the line. 2:25 to go. Delvin's pass to Lindsman. He'll clear it. Tipped away nicely by John Anderson. Ahead it goes to Andwichuk into the Bruins zone. Andwichuk going to the corner. Roosters in front of the shot. Deflects off the skate to the goal crease. Taken by McGuire. Knocked it back in behind the net. Here's Andwichuk. Has it in the corner. Sends it back to shot. Screen shot. Andwichuk spins the drive. The rebound. And Lemelin holds on to the right pass. And here they go. No. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
Really, Boston can't come up with any type of opportunities whatsoever. Every time they touch the puck, there's a Sabre player right on top. They're really pressing the issue in this period. They're making Boston come up with the perfect plays, and you can't pull those perfect plays off if you haven't got the time.
On the draw in the Bruins zone. It'll be cleared up to Crowder. Now comes the center, knocked away. Taken by Napier, ahead to Arneal. He'll come to the Boston line. Now Arneal knocking it on in with 1:43 remaining here in this third period. Cleared on into the Buffalo zone, taken and cleared by John Anderson. Back into the Boston territory. 1:32 left in the third period. 5-3 Buffalo leading. The Bruins have managed just one shot on goal here in the third period. Here's Smith clearing it on in. 28 shots for the Sabres. Uh-oh, Krupp and Crowder. But somebody came in and hit Krupp from behind. And here's McGuire. He stepped in. Oh, look.
Oh, is he ever giving it to him? Oh, is he giving it to him with the right? He must have hit him with 5 perfect rights right to the squash. I'm going to tell you something. They're both coming back. Both fires. What a battle. They won't give it up. Now they're trying to claw each other's eyes out of all things. Look at that. Oh, did they palm one another. Both standing there and ready for more.
Well, McGuire's almost stripped Byers of his equipment.
Here's one more for good luck. They won't give it up. They'll go until they fall. That'll do it. Now he's trying to push his head. Or I couldn't tell. There it is right here. Now they have to grab him at this point. Yeah, that's it, boys. They should have got in there, as a matter of fact, right away when McGuire first fell on top of Byers. Should have broken up at that point.
The two linesmen holding off Crowder and Krupp.
Watch the knees right here. They break it up. A lot of times you'll see a guy bring a knee up. Look at the elbow patches right down by the wrists. So you want to take a look at a uniform, huh? And what's under it? Okay. McGuire's a popular figure. They're all on their feet right now. There goes Lyndon Byers. The Buffaloes really stood up well against the Bruins tonight. But also keep in mind, the Bruins are playing in Buffalo, and they didn't exactly take a back seat either. Now, when Buffalo goes, they move in to Boston, they have to stand up in the same fashion.
1:16 remaining. And tonight's Pier 6 brawl was produced by Paul Whelan, co-producer Dwight DeCole, and the director, Paul DeWall.
That's the first night for Dwight DeCole. The DeCole fellow working with, he did a nice job,
He did an excellent job. Just tremendous. Well, 1 minute 16 seconds left in this Donnybrook, if you want to call it.
Well, they promised you, hey, Ruben, you got it. It hurts an awful lot more if you're the losing team, no matter what happened out in this ice tonight in fights. Ted, I remember so well going back to the early 70s, the Boston Bruins used to use us for speed bags every time we played them. And one night in this auditorium, Jim Schoenfeld came into town and punched out about 3 Bruins, and ever since then, I shouldn't say ever since then, but for 2 or 3 years following, everything was fine. Everything was toned down. The Bruins didn't walk on us. They didn't try to, you know, give everybody shots on the side. They'd go into Boston and they'd respect you, and it was a good, even hockey game. But until Buffalo stood right up to them, it was just a one-sided affair. It was a one-way street, and after that, it was a two-way street.
Well, I can remember...
you remember that night, don't you?
Oh, sure.
Everybody does.
Wayne Cashman went right through the boards. I mean, through the boards where the Zamboni machine comes onto the ice. They went right through.
They're standing on the cement.
They're standing in there, and they're flailing away. Yeah, that's right.
Sparks were flying off the cement. Well, I remember it well, too, because I went into the boards with Cashman. I was playing with Jimmy that night, and I took him into the boards. He sprung off the boards. When he was coming off, I could hear Jimmy coming over there. You could just hear those skates digging in. It was just, look out. And he pile drive him right through the backboards, right out to the Zamboni entrance. They wouldn't stand on the mat where they could dig in. They were both on the cement. Sparks were flying all over the place. 2, 3.
Well, McGuire and Byers got a 5 plus a game misconduct. Roop and Crowder get 5 and a 10 for the misconduct.
So that's an automatic game misconduct, so he doesn't have to be alerted. He doesn't have to alert us.
But he had a lot to do, Ted, I really believe, this hockey club getting an awful lot of respect in Boston, also in places like Philadelphia. It's pretty pitiful going into Philadelphia. I mean, you thought, well, maybe the Sabres were a little pale in that last effort physically in Boston. Well, we were a lot worse.
The Sabres have had 11 shots here in this period. The Bruins have managed to put 1 on Tom Barrasso.
That's amazing. You keep the Boston Bruins down to 1 shot. That tells me it's just an absolutely, just almost a perfect checking job by the Sabres.
Well, perhaps the next time they'll play, things will kind of settle down. They'll try and play some hockey, but I suppose you have to go through one of these games like this to
go through fire to forge steel. Unfortunately, there's always a price to pay, isn't there, to be successful. It's not the nicest way to do it, and it certainly isn't a way that we necessarily want the people to watch, and something they have to look at, but that's the nature of the game right now, and either you stand up to this situation. If you back down, people will walk all over you. So they finally stood up to the Boston Bruins tonight in a big way. 220 minutes in penalties. It looks like they're going to win a hockey game on top, but to give Bruins something to think about the next time they meet up.
1 minute, 16 seconds remaining in the third period. Finally, we get back to the action. Here's Ruff in front of the net. He clears it off the glass to the back into the Bruins zone. Larson will go back after it. There will be no icing call. Sabres hold on to a 2-goal lead. Here's Lindsman. He left it there. Now Larson turns to the zone of blue line with 1 minute to go. It'll come back over the line. Andrechuk's got it. Now Miller. Jay Miller. Taken by Ruff. Ruff slapped at it. Picked off by Tucker. He'll just dump it high into the air. That'll go right to the goal crease. No icing with 39 seconds to go. Bork ahead to Lindsman and the Sabres looking for their first victory in 5 starts. Here are Arneal going into the corner, dropped it back into behind the box, and that's 25 seconds left.
Ludwig ever scored a goal right now, Ted, they'd raise the roof off this house.
Now comes to Neely. Neely with 17 seconds to go. And the Bruins have still had just 1 shot on goal here in the third period. Now Miller knocked away by Ruth, racing after it. Lemelin comes way out to hold on. 5 seconds to go. The Buffalo Sabres will win their 5th straight on home ice and their first win in 5 games against the Bruins.
I'm watching Jan Ludwig out there, and he can barely stand up. He's so tired. Sean Anderson back in action tonight. Of course, he is out with that 102 temperature and had a big part in this win also this evening. A very, very sound defensive effort tonight by Buffalo.
Tom Barrasso will win his 8th game of the last 9 starts and his 11th game overall.
That was a well-refereed hockey game tonight.
Face off in the Bruins zone. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 2, 1. That's it. The game is over. The Sabres have defeated the Bruins 5-3, allowing Boston just 1 shot in the third period of play. Tom Barrasso receiving congratulations from his teammates. And the Sabres move 6 points ahead of the 4th place Hartford Whalers and 8 points in front of the last place Quebec Nordiques. Jan Ludwig gets a pat on his derriere from Tom Barrasso. 22 shots overall for the Bruins, 28 for the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres win it 5-3. We'll be back with our 3-star selection in just a moment. You're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. And here are 3 stars in tonight's game. All 3 stars going to the Buffalo Sabres. The 3rd star to Mike Ramsey with a goal here tonight. The 2nd star to Jan Ludwig with a pair of assists. And the number 1 star, Christian Ruutu, with 4 assists in the 5 goals the Buffalo Sabres scored here tonight. 5-3 final, Buffalo over the Boston Bruins. And you're watching Sabres hockey on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
After 1. However, Barrasso and the Sabres really slammed the door on the Bruins after that. Just 1 goal in the 2nd period. Here's Jan Ludwig back in the action now. Sets up Foligno with a perfect pass. This is the game winner. It really started getting chippy after that, though. Look at Gord Kluzak. Greets Foligno with a solid check. Foligno got the license number, though, and it's hello again, Gordy. Gordy actually got the last word with a tough fight. Now, 40 seconds into the 3rd period, Mike Ramsey, with some good hustle here, scores to make it 5-3. Ramsey with a terrific night. One of the heavyweight bouts of the night, 3rd period, Jay Miller and Kevin McGuire. I guess we have to give a close decision to Miller on this one. Received a couple extra minutes for roughing, and then McGuire again in the action against Lyndon Byers later in the 3rd period. Again, 218 penalty minutes, 18 fighting penalties called by Koharski, but the Sabres win at 5-3. Mike DeGeorge in a happy Buffalo locker room.
We hadn't beaten Boston at all this year, and you know, it wasn't just a case of us losing. It was a case of us getting slapped in the face when we lost. And you know, you don't do that to any team. It might happen once, it might happen again, but the 3rd time, you know, it's not going to happen. And you know, there's the guys on this team are just fed up, and no matter who they are, from the smallest guy to the biggest guy.
Well, I think after tonight's game, they're probably going to respect us. I think this is probably the best effort 20 guys have done in one game. I mean, everybody worked really their guts out. It's a great game by everybody.
That it was. The Sabres remain unbeaten at home in '88, beating the Bruins 5-3. Sabres home against New Jersey Friday. By the way, Mike Ramsey with a Charlie horse is doubtful for that game. Pittsburgh